What's up, ecosystem? Welcome back to Auto Transport Intel. It is no secret, the auto transport industry is fragmented. Brokers, carriers, load boards, rates, dispatchers, shippers, dealers, ratings. Just go on any social media, you'll see it. There's more arguing than there is education. Why are we trapped in the gossip? Who thinks they can get rich in one day? Why are there so many strange business tactics? And so many stingers that hate wedgies? And folks convinced dispatching is illegal? If I suggested it was time to leave the Stone Age behind, would I be clubbed and dragged back into the cave? Auto transport is about shipping vehicles. It's about complicated logistics and heavy packaging. It's a physical world that's gotten increasingly digital. And to get to the future of auto transport, we've still got a lot of communicating to do. So tonight, please welcome Bek of Super Dispatch, Dean from uShip, Marco from McCollister's, Derric of Car Delivery Network, and Keven of JP Auto Transport. Please join the live chat, ask your questions, share your thoughts, grow your business. Because it's Tuesday nights live on Auto Transport Intel. I'm Jay, your host. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to Auto Transport Intel. It is Tuesday nights live, and I'm your host. I'm Jay, and you are live on Auto Transport Intel. Thank you so much for saying hello, jumping in the live chat. If this is your first time, all right, welcome to the show. Thank you so much. I want you to feel welcome. Please do feel welcome. You can ask your questions, you can share your thoughts, grow your business, make a friend, share your company information, phone number, email address. If you got, if you got something to say, say it. You're welcome to do that on Auto Transport Intel. This is an open forum, and I'm going to go into the live chat in a minute. I'm going to go say hello. I'm going to answer some of those questions. I see them. I see that good question about why I'm reading off a cheat sheet. I see you. I see you there. No, listen, I'm going to answer that question, man. I'm going to tell you. We're going to go into industry news at the quarter hour. Industry news is social media news, national news, front of the store, back of the store, what's being talked about, auto transport tech, car shipping trends, vehicle logistics. We're going to cover all that stuff. We're going to go into industry news. It's a great segment. Plus, get to play a game show with Ask Larry. This is a big show. Bek of Super Dispatch, the founder of Super Dispatch, he's here tonight. Now that's at the 40-minute mark, so you got 35 more minutes. Go heat something up in the microwave, switch up the DVD rotation, whatever you got to do. I got great stuff before Bek joins, but I just want to let you know it will be another half hour before he gets in here. We're going to talk for a few minutes. Then we're going to bring in the Future of Auto Transport panel with Dean Xeros of uShip, Marco Maggiore of McCollister's Transport Group, Derric, Hicks, Car Delivery Network, Keven, Parada, JP Auto Transport. It really is a big show. It's a big to-do. And so I'm glad you're here. Thank you guys so much for being here, saying hello in the live chat. And, oh, yes, that's right. You know what? Do me a favor. Go ahead and leave a like, right? You see that like button. Thank you so much. Don't be shy. And also, if you see, man, you see it. You see this happening. Go ahead and click that. See that share button? Click the share, which brings you, click the copy, which brings you, grab that YouTube link. Text it, email it, share it on social media, let people know this is it. This is the big show. It's the end of the first quarter of 2021, and we're pulling out no stops. I don't think that's how they say it. But share it. Let people know this is going to be amazing. It's going to be a great show. And if you don't know what you're doing, you don't know where to start. Go to autotransportintel.com, click on sign up, become an ATI insider. We put you in touch with our carrier coach, Ty Thompson. In fact, in 2 weeks, we got another car shipping roundtable. Maybe you can join us. Get on the weekly email blast so you're in the loop. And do say hello. There is a lot going on. There's a lot going on. This is, we're breaking records tonight. So do me a favor. I'm going to go into the live chat after this. Stick around. We're going to be right back. Holly.com, get signed up. United Road was on the show. I believe that was 2 weeks ago, and there's more good news on the horizon, so go ahead and be sure to join us for that. All right, let's go into the live chat. Let's go ahead and say hello. Now, listen, here's what I got to do. I got to back this thing up. I got to back up the truck to the beginning, but you see the live chat on the screen. I'll go there in a second. John Garofalo, Finest Towing and Recovery, says, hello, good evening. What's going on? We got Ty, Cars on the Move in here. Is this where you find the future? It sure is. Mark Grodicke, SuperFlo Moto Building, Future Business Today. What's up, Mark? Saying hello to everybody, saying hi to John. Kimberly is in here. Welcome to Tuesday Nights Live with your host, Jay. Join the live chat. Say hi. Do you got questions? Ask them here. Post your info and your service network. We're glad you're here. That's absolutely true. Silver Mint is here. Okay, Silver Mint. Is this where fragmentation gets put in prospective order? That is true. This is the place. Jim Lehman is here. Rapid Recon. What's going on, Jim? Great to see you in here. Thanks for tuning in. Get your pencils and your pads ready. There is a lot coming. This is going to be a great show. Carlos Braxton, ACB Logistics, Murphy Auto Transport is in here. What's up? Super Dispatch is in here. What's going on? Exotic Hotshot, what's happening? Jiggy Jam Down, KMR LLC. That's right. Put your company information in there. Thank you so much. Thanks for saying hello. Paul Jewett, what's going on? Thanks for the invite. Dennis Burgess, thanks for the great show. Thanks, Dennis. That's really cool. Appreciate it. And thanks for ringing the bell. That's right. You can ring the bell too. I got a cowbell right here waiting for you. But I just got the little, the dry cleaning bell. Dry cleaning, fries are up. Seltzer's Equipment and Sales and Service, what's going on? Tiffany Scott says hello. Chris Chamberlain, hey Transport Brothers. Fellow entrepreneurs, getting ready for the transportation superhighway. Going into overload. Exotic Hotshot. Oh, that's two for Exotic Hotshot. Chantel Whitfield Scott says, hey. Saul Goodman, what's going on? Second time here. Long time listener, second time caller. Thought I'd check in with you guys. What's up? I'm new to the transport. I'm new. There we go. See, there we go. I'm new to the auto transport world. Well, you know what you got to do. You got to go to autotransportintel.com, get signed up. That's what you got to do. John Robertson's in here. What's going on? Big show tonight. That is true. This is a big show. Casey at Super Dispatch is in the live chat. Bobby C says hello. Dimitri Neumann. Hey, what's up? Oh, man, this is amazing. Vipex Transport LLCs. We're breaking records. Mother and sons operated. By the way, Silver Mint, did I skip your... I'll just say that I don't know where it is in the live chat if I skipped it. Silver Mint. I got my cheat sheets. I always have, cheat sheets and notes. Watch out for the boom. The thing is that I don't want to be the next roadkill on social media. So I got to get it right. Okay, there I said it. What else we got? Where's the newest member of Super Dispatch? Ooh, now Sean Hampton. That's interesting. Well, his name will come up later. Not newest member, maybe? I don't know. We'll get the 411 on that. Chris Chamberlain. Dude, thank you, Chris. That's cool. Chris Chamberlain's ringing the cowbell. Thank you so much. If you got a fever, you know the prescription. Gary P says hello. I've been watching this channel for a while. I love how it's growing. Thank you so much, Gary P. And whoever's in the background. Everybody, you're in the background. Welcome to the background. R. Smith, Auto Fast Transport, Andover, Kansas. What's up? Jeff Grandstaff. Yeah, dude. That car shipping rail show, I see it on the horizon. Like a train coming. Okay. But the timing is amazing. In fact, I want to put together a port show. So, if you know somebody at the port, that wants to organize some kind of port show. Tiffany Scott, IGH Transport, what's going on? Dennis Robbins. Hey, hello, Dennis from Auto Lenders Group. Great. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Because when I get asked, who's in your audience? I say, okay, it's half carriers, and then the other half is you got the brokers, dealers, financial, LinkedIn executives, business owners. So there you're seeing it. You're seeing it live on a Tuesday night. Good evening, everybody. My name is Daria, or Daria, all right. VSP21 Inc. Talk Much J. Brian Castle. So it's a bitch in the house. Signed up with Holly. Never heard back from them. Ouch. Okay. All right. You know what they say? Any feedback is... No, they don't. Any good press? Any terrible... I don't know what they say. Sophia Dukes, what's up? I Feel Transport. Hey, what's going on, man? Thanks so much for tuning in and saying hello. Why are the rates so low? There it is. Tiffany Scott says it. Why are the rates so low? Boy, oh boy. If I had a nickel... I'd have a couple nickels. Ben Hargis, look at this crowd. I know, right, Ben? Don't take... Dude, Ben... I'm just telling... Here's a secret. Don't talk about the size of the crowd. Everybody just jumps right off the ship. It's crazy. So don't talk about it. Jim Lehman, glad to be here. I'm glad to have you here. Ben Hargis. Hey, what's up, Casey? Wow, ATI to the moon. Look at that. Look at that. I'm like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, running around, talking about auto transport. Thanks, Ty. My friend, my buddy, carrier relations coach. Abdi Knucklehead, what's going on? And by the way, if you want to ring the cowbell, it's right here. All you got to do is super chat. Did you see that? Lost a couple viewers. Abdi, what's up, Abdi? Thanks for tuning in, Knucklehead. Dasha G, what's going on with the rates? That's 2 for the rates. Nick Mador, what's up? MVS Canada. Wendy Delta, Auto Transport, what's up? Thanks for tuning in and saying hello. Ford Buchanan, hello from Skyridge Dispatch. What's up, Ford? Thanks for tuning in. That's awesome. Constantine, yes. There we go. Constantine from Exotic Hotshot. That's the thing between the aliases and the screen names and then, the pseudonyms. Clearpath TMS, what's up? Paul Machine is here from Black Book. Thank you, Paul. Thanks for saying hello. Sophia Dukes is from Super Dispatch. Thank you, Sophia. I really appreciate that. This is going to be a big show. And as I say, put your contact info, your email address, phone number, company, products, services, announcements, milestones, URLs. Put it in the live chat. That's what it's for. Ooh, we got industry news in a minute. Wow, such a big live chat tonight. Lauren Dye. Hey, what's up, Super Dispatch team? John Robertson, there it is. There's your email. Some Human Being is here. What's up? Thanks, Some Human Being. That's really cool. Natalia Dudzinaya. I'm close. From Hall Match. Fantastic. That's awesome. Does anybody feel, anybody who worked fast food is like having a flashback right now? Fries are up. KMR LLC, I need to get over that first hurdle, which is to load my first vehicle. Wow, cool. Awesome. Good for you. Thanks for saying hello and telling us. I like that. That's new in auto transport. Top trending. And nobody's piling on, you know, like stupid wedgie. Okay. All right. Jay, take it easy. All right. Try to enjoy the show. Super Dispatch, Paul Machine, Daniel Desari. Wow, this is insane. Peter Gabriel, great. With Unite Transport. Fantastic. This is amazing. I've never seen it like this. This really is. This is the first time. If you're here tonight, right now, you know. This is the first. We've exceeded and broken the records and exceeded expectations already. I'm just going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to end the show now, and that way Devin Richards is here. What's up? Rusty is here. Constantine Raduca. What's up? Ivy Williams with Ivy Joe's Trucking. Was in the business for 27 years, out for the last 5, but looking to get back in. We see that, you know, it's like Carlito's Way. They pull me back in. It's like Carlito's Way. Oh, it's Ben from customer support at Super Dispatch. What's going on? Aman Malhotra. What's up? Man, Dennis Robbins is here too. Holy cow. Michael Trout, Fast 80. The deals are crazy. BM is here. What's up, BM? Oh, man, that is insane. Wow. That is a huge live chat. You guys, oh, now see, look at this. Look, do you see this? Wait for it. Wait for it. There it is, man. What's up? Mark Grodicke at SuperFlo Systems. Thank you so much, Mark. Actually, it's incredible timing. Because, do you know why? Dude, check this out.
SuperFlo Systems is excited to introduce DispatchCenter.com, a full-service load board for brokers, shippers, carriers, and drivers, featuring integrations with Truckify mobile app and iTruckPay. Use Route Scout technology to build your routes. Maximize truck capacity. Stay loaded at the highest available revenue with the least amount of driving miles. Tell us your lanes. Loadification will alert you to new loads posting in your route. Views instant load notifications sent with Book Now features. Search and book loads directly through the Truckify mobile app. Brokers and shippers, post your loads to Dispatch Center. Give authorized carriers the opportunity to instantly book your loads. Dispatch Center powers the Truckify mobile app, allowing instant load assignment to the driver. Truckify will send inspection reports, geo-located pickup and delivery photos, BOLs, and invoices back to the broker. Brokers, shippers, carriers, and drivers, Dispatch Center, and Truckify have what you need to be more profitable every day.
That's right. That is the information from SuperFlo Systems, Dispatch Center, and Mark is in the live chat. If you've got questions, CRM, TMS, mobile app, how to get paid, transport auto quoter, dude, I give a double tap for that. And thank you so much. Look at that. ClearPath TMS. Let's keep the party going. Thank you so much, guys at ClearPath. ClearPath has been on the show. In fact, you know what? Truth, this show is packed with auto transport software companies. I don't know if there's ever been an auto transport software company party like this before. So thank you so much for ringing all the bells in the house. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. And everything that gets donated goes right back into the channel. That's what the super chats are for. Yeah, I work on this channel like crazy, actually. And so I hope it shows. All right, it is now time. We got to go into some industry news. We got to get some news up in here. So here we go. All right, this is, wow, it's already 8:20. Shoo, I'm going to be working. Okay, this is the Future of Auto Transport show. This is episode 183 in a row on a Tuesday night. Mic check 1, 2, 3. And let me know, am I too loud? Am I too soft? I want the porridge just right. Tonight we have Bek. I'm going to bring Bek on in about 20 minutes. And then we're going to hang out for a minute or two. And then we're going to bring on Dean, Marco, Derric, and Keven. We are going to have the Future of Auto Transport panel. This is a Future of Auto Transport party. You know the Super Dispatch website. There's the uShip website. There's McCollister's website. See Auto Transport on there. Marco's got some interesting information about his company. He's going to share it with us tonight, too. Car Delivery Network. Marco's like, what? Car Delivery Network, you know the website. And then JP Auto Transport, there's JP Auto Transport. Keven Parada's on the show tonight. You know, I talk about the ecosystem, right? I talk about, thank you so much. I talk about, I'm just kidding. I talk about the auto transport industry ecosystem, right? OEMs, auctions, dealers, shippers, brokers, services, carriers, equipment, regulations, and loads. Whether we get along or not, I talk about it, all right? And so tonight, we have several, I didn't even put the arrows in here because I didn't even know where to put the arrows. We're really talking about most of it other than regulations and equipment, and we might even talk a little bit of equipment. You know, I talk back of the store, front of the store. Great, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Back of the store, transport parking lot, front of the store, they're selling cars, the two connect. Try it out. Give it a shot. Try it out. It's the year of the hybrid, where physical meets digital. Now, of course, cars live in the physical world. But business, more and more, digital world, the two shall meet. And I just want to say I got this notice. Thank you so much. You know, I appreciate everybody watching, tuning in, saying hello, joining the live chat. It is awesome for the channel. Thank you, Super Dispatch, for sharing the good news about show tonight. Thank you, McCollister's, for sharing the good news about the show tonight. And by the way, Ty is in Clubhouse. Are you in Clubhouse? Are you in good hands? Go to Clubhouse. Connect with Ty. He says it's crazy up in there with the information going on. It's a packed house in Clubhouse. So we know the news with Suez blockage, 9.6 billion. Isn't it funny? Like already, like, so all of the media that was created and all this speculation generation, you mean it's over? Oh, the first world crisis of like the last year, and it's already over and it had nothing to do with COVID. Wow. I miss it already. I'm so nostalgic of suspension of bookings. Oh man, and all the, you know, the delays are going to cripple the world. And now I'm not saying there aren't bottlenecks, but I don't know if we're really crippled. Glad we spent all that time on auto transport being over. So it's not over. In fact, you might want to apply for a job. You look for, you see this out there. Good car haulers are still needed. Oh, by the way, I bet you can't turn around in the Suez Canal. Hold my beer. So, industry news. Now, somebody sent me this, and is that a truck being pulled by a truck, and the truck being pulled by the truck has a car in it too? I'm not sure. But as they say in Mr. Mom, you're doing it wrong. Welcome to China is the comment I got. Welcome to China. Holy cow. Really? Dads hate stopping on road trips because then all the vehicles they worked hard to pass for the last hour get back ahead of them. Now that's funny. That's funny. It's true. Did you see that ACV is now a publicly traded stock? Well, there it is. Check it out. I don't know what it's at today. Ty, what are they saying in Clubhouse? Hey, 5,000 carriers, 5,000 loads by June 5th, 555. Go to dispatchcenter.com. Get signed up. This is how you get your car shipping news. You know what you do. You put it up on the big screen, and then you get ready. You guys ready? Thank you very much. Go to dispatchcenter.com/Ask Larry. Okay, got that? Dispatchcenter.com/Ask Larry, because here we go. While seatbelts were required to be installed in vehicles beginning in 1968, what year was the first law mandating their use. Okay. 67, 84, 75, 78. Now, I got the questions. We don't reveal the answers till Thursday, so you've got time to win. Ready? What is the most appropriate carrier pay amount to ship a 2019 Buick LaCrosse from Summerfield, Florida to Jackson, Mississippi? Now remember, this is the rate that will get it moved. It's not the cheapest rate, and it's not the most you could pay, but Larry knows his stuff. Ready? According to the Federal Highway Administration, how many miles of road existed in the U.S. in 2017? 4, 2, 18, or 10 million-ish. Remember, go to dispatchcenter.com/Ask Larry. Ready? What is the most appropriate carrier pay amount to ship a 2012 VW Beetle from St. Paul, Minnesota to Easley, South Carolina? And I really do appreciate that. Thank you very much. Remember, if you play, you can win. You can win a hat. I think this is what I know of so far. There's hats. And bragging rights. You can brag in your hat, post it on social media. I'm sure that'll get hits. All right, here we go. Last one. Which of the following features would impact a vehicle's shipping price? Sunroof, lift kit, leather seats, heated steering wheel. Definitely heated steering wheel. All right. That is amazing. Thank you so much. Are you a car shipping guru? Don't forget to play. Now, here's what time it is. It is time. Go to autotransportintel.com. Click on sign up. Become an ATI insider. And don't forget, you've got to take a break. I don't care what anybody says. There's an ELD punch break right around the corner. Stick around.
Are you completely stressed? Give us a call today.
That is the voice of Sue. She is the office manager at Murphy Auto Transport Services. If you're looking for a dispatcher, she runs a dispatch team. Looking for a broker? She's a fully licensed broker. She's also my co-host on Thursdays on Dispatching Live right here on Auto Transport Intel. That's a noon show, right? This is the only late show. This is the big show, the flagship show, and we're glad you're here, so thank you so much. And I think Sue might be in the live chat if you got a question. And she'll let us know, hey, question for you, Sue, if she's here. And I know I get this on Thursdays. Does she still have a spot available for a carrier? Because she fills up. So ask her, find out, and listen, you got dispatch questions? Join us on Thursdays on Dispatching Live. Ready for more news? Here comes the second half. Carvana is buying customer cars in the time it takes to brush their teeth. The online car buyer report notes that Carvana sold over 244,000 vehicles in 2020, or one every 2.2 minutes on average. In the roughly 2 plus minutes it takes to brush your teeth, Carvana sells or buys another car. Wow. And there's your moment of pause. There's your moment of zen, right? Because it's this kind of stuff that's kind of driving all the other news that we're seeing, reacting to. Auto news now, GM to halt mid-size pickup output for 2 weeks. So juxtapose that with that. Uh-oh. Or how about CarRide offers home delivery? CarRide, a nationwide network of dealerships. Ooh, nationwide network of dealerships for pre-owned vehicles now offering home delivery without ever setting foot in the dealership. A hybrid style of buying option. There you go. Okay, so there's that versus that. Stellantis to idle output at 5 North American plants due to chip shortage. Stinking chip shortage. How about online used car retailer Kazoo to go public in $8 billion SPAC deal? Used car lots to the web. Huh. Yeah. Consumer driveway inventory much? Versus... more bad news. Okay, it's still Stellantis again, but this is minivan plant for 4 weeks. Yes, it's Ontario, but man, this chip shortage, yow. Other news, Manheim spending nearly $100 million in 2021 on auction improvements. The auction giant wants to button up seams in the process, from the physical lanes to remote screens. Man, looks like a game show. Wonder if they play Ask Larry there. The company's main goal is to make it easier for clients to interact with them, regardless of whether they're bidding in-lane or online. For example, with arbitration, virtual auction blocks, the company's teams of specialists. I know you know some of this. I know. Here, check this out. I know. Teams of specialists operating out of digital hubs to help customers, regardless of location. The company has centralized all of its title dispersing to an office in Carmel, Indiana. How fun is that? Okay, Jay. That's a lot of bells, Jay. Manheim launches a new mobile app, too. Man, Manheim has launched all new Manheim mobile app. Approximately 70,000 unique users each week. This app is light years better than the old one. By the way, somebody asked me on YouTube in the comments, does Central Dispatch have a mobile app? It was a pretty quiet snap. Manheim, Baltimore, Washington. I love to look at who's buying the cars. Who's buying the cars? CarMax, Carvana, Drive Time. Top 3. Oh yeah, and they also have their own auctions, inventory, wholesale, retail, etc. That should tell you something. Adesa. Car Global's not going to be left out. Adesa unveils on-site vehicle geolocating for security and efficiency. On-site customers can download the Adesa Marketplace app, easily locate sale-ready or purchased inventory in a matter of seconds. The enhanced vehicle locator feature is currently available to users at 38 Adesa sites. Adesa Marketplace app users starting in April will also be able to share vehicle location information with non-app users, such as transporters. Okay, that's cool. Good. Who likes walking the auction? Okay. That was an easy question. DAA Northwest, Seattle, opens in-lane April sales. There's some news Ty will like. It's about time. McConkie Auction Group CEO announced the DAA's Northwest and Seattle auction doors will be opening in-lane sales April 1st and 2nd, 1 year after the pandemic forced the auctions to close their indoor lanes. The auctions will hybrid, continue offering all vehicles via Edge simulcast. Wait, there it is. There, you can read it. Now you can see it. Seeing is believing. For example, companies like VinQ. How many times a week do you hear of a company that is in the space in one way or another and it might help you, affect you? Here's another one. VinQ. Inventory auction, market, dealer, man, etc. Yo. I was watching, are you watching webinars? Consumers want the best. They want it close by. So, auto transport near me, right? Here's your note. Auto transport near me. Google it, add it to your list of services. Be the boss. Be the boss in your hometown. The wholesale used car market trends and challenges have not changed. So, follow that stuff. Read that stuff, right? Are you reading that stuff? I'll read it for you. Send me an email, autotransportintel@gmail.com, or put it in the live chat. We lost some viewers. Oh, man, you're going to miss the best part of the show, but I tried to warn you. Well, Okay, Auto Transport Intel does go live 4 times a week. You got Tuesday nights live. That's how we start the week. This is the big show. Wednesday's DOT compliance. There's no need to drive around the scales anymore. Dispatching live on Thursdays at noon. You got a dispatch question, we'll help you search the load boards. Cars on the Move Fridays, connecting dealers, auctions, and carriers, throwing down intense knowledge. Yes, join us tomorrow. If you see the lights in your rear view, it means you need DOT compliance at noon. Throw a dart. Hey, don't be the April Fool. That's Thursday. Lucky we got April Fools on Dispatching Live. Oh, wow, the heavens aligned. And Cars on the Move, dealers, auctions, and carriers. Oh, Tim was on last Friday. The melting block of ice. That was awesome. Check it out. So last week's show was the IARA Transportation Logistics Panel CAR program overview. That was a great show. Check that out. Don't miss that information. Learn about CAR, Certified Automotive Remarketer Program. There's 20 instruction modules. Learn more about that. And then, I want to thank again the IARA. Thank you so much for letting me moderate the Transportation and Logistics panel at your IARA virtual conference. That was amazing. Thank you so much. And I want to thank the rest of the panel. And, hey, next week, man, we got another big show lined up. What is National Vehicle Transportator? What is, let's try that again. Okay. And Auto Transport Intel, take 2. What is National Vehicle Transporters Alliance? What is that? Go nvta.org. Check it out. National Vehicle Transporters Alliance. We're going to find out all about it next Tuesday night. That's going to be an awesome show. And then be sure to join us for the April 13th Roundtable Super Spreader. Oh, man. Can you feel the love tonight on a Tuesday night? It's incredible. It's insane what's going on here. We got new vehicle shipping by rail up April 20th. That's going to be an amazing show as well. But tonight, let's bring it on home. It's 8:37. Bek's going to be up here in a few minutes. The future of auto transport is happening tonight. All right, let's go ahead and do that. And, and actually, I need to start that meeting here in a second, bring in Bek. This is the Car Shipping Business Channel. And I am Jay, your host. I'm the founder of the channel. And I'm happy that you're here. Thank you so much for joining us. So Bek's going to be here in a couple minutes. And I'll tell you what, here's what I want you to do. Let's do this. Oh, here, let's do this. Hey, what?
Our industry is at a crossroads. For too long, carriers and shippers have helped move the world forward without any help in return. Forced to use outdated apps and waste time jumping from a legacy TMS to lists of load boards, carriers and shippers have spoken out, and we're prepared to help. There is a better way to move cars, and it starts with Super Dispatch, the first of its kind. A single platform providing carriers and shippers the experience they deserve. Equipped with every tool a carrier or shipper needs, backed by real people who care. The ultimate carrier and shipper experience. One platform to move cars faster, smarter, and easier. It's more than technology. It's more than a tool. It's the future of auto transport.
So that is the future of auto transport video from Super Dispatch. You'll see in the live chat, there is the superdispatch.com website link. There's a phone number as well. Bek is going to be up here in a minute. And for our panelists, Derric, Marco, Dean, and Keven, guys, just hang out in the waiting room for a few minutes because me and Bek, we're going to hang out for a second. We're going to talk about what this is all about. Also, hey, so Nuke, how RL? That's interesting. Tim, did you really sell your car to Carvana? Is that right? That's really interesting. Wonder how soon, Tim? Is Tim kidding? Is Tim? I really got to know. I don't know. I don't know, with all the melting block of ice stuff, I think, Tim. Dennis Robbins says webinars. Yeah, man. Webinars. Y'all like webinars or prefer recorded videos? Interesting. Yeah. Live, there's something different about live, right? Live is something different. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm reading something from Casey. Okay, so fill out a form, and let me try to share this link. Okay, fill it for a chance to win. All right, I'm going to share this link. That's interesting. Yeah, the spam filters. Here we go. For a chance to win, I just put it in the live chat. If you click on that, that's why I was late. Took longer than 2. I knew it. Tim is pulling my leg again. I knew it. And that's okay though. That's okay. All right. So we got all of our panelists in the waiting room. Bek will be here in a second. Again, Casey, thank you so much for letting me know about the spam. So Casey, go ahead and click on the link. Casey's got $25 Amazon gift cards, and she wants to connect with you. Yeah, she wants to get you the information. And so there's top dollar. So Tim and Paul are having fun at my expense in the live chat. That's great. And then Super Dispatch is talking to John Robertson and Ship Your Car Now. Brian Pepson's here. Pepson Auto Transport. What's going on? Let's see. Why do you have a Super Dispatch t-shirt? Email if you want one. Oh, wow. So you can email social@superdispatch.com and get your Super Dispatch t-shirt. That's a great idea. Cool. Dennis Robbins, we're a large 7-location dealership group, a CR purchasing company, leasing company. We're very happy with Super Dispatch. Wow, there you go. Thanks, Dennis. Thanks for sharing the good news. That's cool. Let's see here. We also have... backing up here. R. Smith, Manheim needs to get back to regular transport hours. Adesa also needs to get back to being open on weekends. There you go. That's the kind of... Now, Ty likes to share that information, and I'm glad you said that, because I'm not sure what it is with, in the monologue before the show, I was opening the show, I was talking about fragmentation. Not only that, but where is the communication between... Where's the ability for the carrier and the dispatcher, which is a big part of the industry? Let's go with drivers and carriers first, to be able to let the large Manheim and Adesa auction locations know what's going on in their world. Where's the information? Is there an information drop box at the security gate where I can, just kind of, write a little memo? Dear Manheim, I would really appreciate... And then you seal it up and put it in the Dropbox. Do we have that? Let's see here. Oh, Wendy Delta, Carvana. Wow, I don't brush my teeth for 2.2 minutes. There it is. Yeah. Actually, I think you're supposed to. That's one of those things where you have to, I don't know if you have to set a timer as a reminder or what you have to do. Let's do this here. Let's do this. Let me send... I got the rest of the panel in here. Let's just send a reminder while we're here. I'm going to send a reminder over to Bek just to make sure he's got the right link. And also, you guys know this. If the internet freezes or falters, don't sweat it. We'll be right back. Let me know. Again, mic check. Let me know on the audio, too. The audio changes when I go from segment to segment. Donuts in lane 1, hot dogs in lane 8. Hey, Don Brady's in here. What's up, Don Brady from Ship Your Car Now? Thanks for saying hello. Oh, and Constantine likes the t-shirt. Auctions, in my opinion, will never be the same, just my opinion. Well, I think you're probably right. You're probably right on the opinion. I'm just gonna say. Let's see here. Now, we've got... Oh, we're... Okay. Okay, I think... Oh, there's the doorbell. Did you hear that? Somebody's knocking at the door. Let's find out who it is. And, we're almost set. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. And also, before I do anything else, let me just make sure. Okay, so we're okay. Everything's good. Audio, video's good. All right. And also, there's Bek from Super Dispatch. What's up, Bek?
Are we on?
We're live.
Hey Jay, how's it going, man?
Hey man, how are you
Nice.
doing? So we're
Doing great,
we're
man.
live.
Super happy to be here.
You are live on Auto Transport Intel. Bek, thank you so much for taking the time to be here. Let's start it off this way. Please do me a favor and say hello to the Tuesday Nights Live audience.
Best audience out there. Hey there, community. I tuned in earlier. I saw some people that some friends in the community. A lot of the Super Dispatch team. How's it going, guys? Thanks for coming out and supporting Jay's show. I saw our good friends at SuperFlo, Maggiore, our friends at ClearPath. Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for coming. I'm really happy to be here. I'm a little nervous because it's a live show, but hopefully with your help, we'll get through it together.
You know, we absolutely will. So I said it before. So I go live 4 times a week. So I'm used to it. And I know I said it. We did a little prep session. I always kind of have a strategy session with everybody. And I'm like, listen, when we go live, it's different. It's the difference between breathing and like being underwater. It's still you. It's just a really different version of an experience. So I'll tell you what, this will be fun. Let's go ahead and just to lighten the load. Here we go. How about this, Bek?
Oh my God, that takes me way back.
Wow, right? Like wow.
So look how young you look, Jay.
I know, right? And yet I think the
so
same of
clean
you.
cut.
I know, it's crazy.
We got Sean in there.
There's Sean,
So-
and then what's that other guy's name? I can't remember.
I can't remember. He's one of our customers, right? So because you and I came up in this industry together,
Right.
running a dispatching company for owner operators. You know, getting yelled at by brokers on the daily, getting blocked out of central dispatch for refreshing too much. Here we go.
being stuck
yeah.
with too much paperwork. I totally remember that one. and that's my actual cubicle, and that was all real paperwork. That's real. None of that's a prop.
You know what? You were best in the game, Jay, as a dispatcher. I remember drivers would come asking for you, looking for you. Drivers would line up for you to take them on. There'd be a line of drivers waiting for you to dispatch for them. You were so good they even gave you a nickname, called you Super J.
Super J.
Super J.
Look at
that's
that
our
one.
tiny office.
I think you shot that on your Panorama. I think Panorama was pretty new at that time. Isn't that great?
What year is that?
I don't know.
13, maybe?
2015?
Yeah.
Is that what you
See
said?
that artwork? See that panda?
Oh,
And
my eyes are always drawn to that Banksy.
I have it right here.
Get out of here.
See that right there?
Wow, that's crazy. And Defy is up there too.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, that is crazy stuff, man. That is the real office. Phil
You remember
used
the
to
story
say,
behind this one?
even though it's just funny, you just said it. Drivers lined up, but Phil was the one that was like, "Get a map, Jay."
Yeah, get him out, Jay.
He sent me his map, like I'm gonna use it. I'm like, Phil, I got a computer. I have like multiple computers.
Yep. That's it. Look at all the central dispatch screens.
Isn't that crazy?
All on auto refresh.
I think I've got like 2 or 3 different computers going. Oh yeah.
It was cool. We figured out, if you remember, we figured out how to get auto dialers going. So we would always be the first dispatchers to call on a good load.
Well, and as I like to talk about on Dispatching Live, like I'd be like, okay, everybody call this number. We're taking over. We're gonna get this load. We went to the Mid America Truck Show.
That's right.
Or is it Mid America Truck? Matt's, yeah. That was quite a journey. And then there's this. I don't even know what this is.
So that's us. That's us going through the Techstars Accelerator. That's when we started building the technology side of the business.
Okay.
Yeah, that's 2016, the early days. I think we'd launched the app already for the drivers, but we didn't have the carrier TMS. We didn't have the shipper TMS. We didn't have the marketplace, obviously, at the time. But yeah, that's the early days. I think that's it. That's all of us and maybe 2 more people at Super Dispatch back then in 2016.
So that's probably when because I was still dispatching. You guys all went over there, and then I think I just made it over for the picture.
maybe. But you know what? Something that I've told you when you and I talked at Auto Transport, is that Auto Intel conference.
Yeah.
A lot of what we've done in those earlier days sort of led to what we're doing today. Before we met each other, I've only been in Auto Transport for maybe a year when I met you. I know you were new to the game at the time, but a lot of what we've done in those days really led up to everything we're doing today, right? Just being in the trenches and living the pain every day for 12 to 14 hours nonstop, even on the weekends, sort of really led us to start developing relationships and beginning to care about the community and the people we've met and the friends we've made. I think a lot of that sort of led up to what we do today, and try to bring the community together and try to make it better. Try to solve a lot of the problems that we sort of lived through in those days.
I think that's what's cool is those photos. They're worth 1,000, 1,000,000 words. There's no way we could summarize in words what I think those photos tell. Of course, you and I, we can see and feel the sweat. Anybody out there that sees those photos and just sees the smiling faces, my God, those might have been the only smiling faces in all that hard work. So much hard work, so many long days. I mean, really, really long days. Early mornings, crazy phone calls. Do you remember? I mean, at one point, there was lots of training going on, and it's amazing. The weekends. I mean, the drive. So each dispatcher was on driver's speed dial, right? 7 a.m., 5 a.m., 12 a.m., 2 a.m. It didn't matter. You would get the call, and you'd always have these crazy drivers that would keep dialing until you answer. It didn't matter what time of the day. I remember I slept with my BlackBerry on right by my pillow, just in case, because I would always be getting calls. It was just nonstop. But if you remember, the time would fly. We were so busy, you couldn't tell, like, the weeks, the days, the hours would go by like that. And yet, you know what happened? Really, that kind of, because I was really cooking in like 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
And I've got it somewhere where I was kind of building my dispatcher training manual course. We used to talk, I mean, that was 2014. And, but then, like, by 2016, the days got longer, and I was really getting burnt out. And I kept thinking about, how do I turn this into media? That's what was happening. So while you were, really cranking on the app, I was like, okay, I've got to do something else. I can still do a version of this information, but I cannot book loads all day anymore. And so...
You remember that, didn't you and Sean get like a big plastic Barbie house or something like that?
Yes.
To do a auto transport show?
So I did. And because the thing is, what I started to do is I started really tapping into my Hollywood roots. And so, yes, I was recording phone calls. I got a webcam, and I got like a broker Barbie, and I thought, man, this could be an actual product. Broker Barbie, that's brilliant, and broker Barbie's dollhouse, or whatever. So yes, but I'm like, there's no longevity. How am I going to create like robot chicken dispatch? Okay, no, that's not gonna work. And so that's why it really took a long time to figure out the right format, which is why Auto Transport Intel was born in summer 2017.
Yeah, and it's incredible. It's really impressive what you've done, building a platform for the whole auto transport community to come together and to highlight really the cutting edge news and technology and events that are happening in the industry. And you've really filled a void. And I don't think that there was anything like that at the time. Even in Facebook, I don't think the community was really engaging as much as it does today. So I think if this was a live audience, I would call for a round of applause for what Jay has built for us here.
Well, thank you. And you know, what's really funny, Bek, is that even 2 years ago, this still didn't make sense to some people I talked to, many people I talked to. Things have changed so much in the past year. Sometimes, your timing, right? You know this. With your mobile app and your timing, man, timing is everything.
Yep. I just remembered another story. What was that? You did a show back in the day in LA, right? Before you came back to Kansas City?
Well, I had many shows, and I'm trying to think what you're referring to.
It doesn't matter. There's an auto transport connection. There's a random auto transport connection because I remember in the early days, I was trying to chase down Central Dispatch because we had this app, right? And we thought, oh my God, Central Dispatch is an amazing platform. What if it had an app? It could have visibility and it could send orders. It could be amazing. This is like the next generation of auto transport. So, I went to Dallas and Phoenix and I'm trying to chase down somebody to talk to, but nobody will take my call because, we're a nobody at the time, a small company, some guy with an app's trying to knock down the gates of large corporations, not getting anywhere. But somehow I get connected to these two guys in San Diego, and turns out Joe and Brian built the IT technology side of Central Dispatch. And yes. I fly to San Diego to no avail, of course, because they're not working there anymore, right?
Yeah.
But turns out Joe and Brian, the guys that built Central Dispatch, were fans of your show in LA back in the day.
It was the Media Cult. I had a thing called the Media Cult, and he had a thing called the TP, like News on a Roll.
Like gold paper TP?
Exactly. And here's the background for this. This is before the .com bomb, when really everyone had crazy ideas. That would in Hollywood, the crazier idea, the more they wanted to hear it. So everybody was trying to come up with super crazy ideas. Yeah, and that's how Joe and I met. And then, to find out that he was there at Central Dispatch, I mean, that is really weird.
Yeah.
It is really
small world.
Tiny world. I know, it is. So, yes, it's very interesting to talk about this. We're both in Kansas City, right? And we got to know Kansas City and to be a part of the Kansas City scene. And so, having taken that trip down memory lane, I think we're ready, right? That was fun, and I want to thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Thank you. No, happy to be here.
Yeah, man, that's really cool. I'll tell you what. Here we go. Oh no, wait! It's right in time. It's 8:59 p.m. Yes, we're a few minutes late for the panel, but we're right on time for 9 o'clock. 1 hour into the show, so here we go. Stick around for the doorbell. Stay right there, Bek. I'm going to bring in our panel, and let's see here. Bring them in. Everybody coming in. I'm just going to ring the cowbell. I'm pretty excited about bringing everybody in. I know the cowbell, is it super loud? All right, here we go. Hold on to your hats. Here comes the Future of Auto Transport panel. Okay. Marco was in here first. Marco, please say hello to the live audience.
Hey, Jay. Hello, everyone. Pleasure to be here tonight. My name's Marco Maggiore. I'm the VP over at McCollister's Auto Logistics.
Great. Thank you, Marco. Dean, please say hello to the live audience.
Hey Jay, how are you? And how's everyone doing this evening? I would love to see that broker Barbie. That sounds very, very interesting. But yeah, I'm head of strategic partnerships for uShip, and it's great to be here.
Cool. Well, welcome. Thank you so much. We've got 2 more attendees joining us. So this is a perfect time to, as I said to, Bek got a chance to kind of get acclimated, right, to the atmosphere. Do you guys, Marco, have you done much live?
I have.
Have you?
Yeah, I have, numerous opportunities. First time with ATI, so excited about it. Typical longtime fan, first time on the panel, so excited about being on. But yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for people to just kind of connect, discuss what's going on, share ideas. And it's really important, I think, in this day and age to have these type of, channels where you could share ideas together.
Thank you. Dean, I'm going to come back to you on that, but I want to welcome Keven. Please say hello to the live audience.
Hey, how you guys doing? Jay, thank you very much for having us. Bek, thank you very much for having me. Hello, guys. Nice to be here. Looking forward to this discussion.
And I just want to repeat, so Keven Parada, your company is JP Auto Transport, right? You're a carrier in California?
Yeah. So we're a carrier out of California, JP Auto Transport, like you said, Jay. Some guys here in local California may know us as JP Towing Company. We've been around for quite a while. My father started this company as a towing company probably about 20 years ago. I kind of took over operations about 4 years ago. We started buying tractor trailers. So yeah, to answer your question, we're a carrier based out of California, primarily work in California and Arizona and Texas.
Great. And perfect. Bek, I was just going to say I'm about to hand it over to you. So Derric is just walking in. Derric Hicks from Car Delivery Network. Derric, can you see us and hear us okay?
Yeah, it's a little choppy.
The internet's choppy.
But hopefully it'll clear up in just a second. Yep.
Okay.
All
right,
good
cool.
now?
Oh, cool. Yep. We see you loud and clear. Derric, please say hello to the live audience.
Good evening, guys. Glad to be here. Thank you, Bek and Jay, for having me on the show. How you guys out there doing tonight? Keven, Marco, Dean, good to be on here with you guys. Good company.
All right, so here we go. Bek, I'm handing it over to you. What are we doing here tonight, Bek?
Thanks for passing on the baton. So it's pretty interesting. This has been in the works for a couple of months. We get to talk to a lot of people in the industry, a lot of carriers, a lot of shippers, a lot of brokers, auctions, dealers, anyone involved in the process of automotive logistics. And Jay gets a lot of visibility into what's happening in the industry. And, we were talking about all the changes. There's a lot of buzz around the physical to digital transformation of dealerships and auctions, cars, electric vehicles, autonomous vehicles, future of trucking and all these things. And, we started talking about there's all these changes. And 10 years ago when we got into this game, there wasn't a lot of technology and there weren't a lot of changes on the horizon. Tesla wasn't around. And people were happy going to physical auctions. People were happy walking into dealerships. And we immediately saw that all these changes are happening faster and faster and faster. So the big question of how is this going to impact? I think the 2 main questions came up, and they were, how are these changes going to impact the community, the auto transport community, the industry? And then the second thing is, as things are changing, as things are moving from physical to digital, as the nature of vehicles is changing, how do we navigate through all those changes as an industry? How do we not become the Kodak of auto transport? Kodak missed the boat on digital photos, right? They kept making film, they kept making regular cameras, and now it's such a massive company. They're so insignificant. So they're really adapting and to the changes is very important to not just to thrive, but for survival. And obviously we don't have a crystal ball, so we don't know the answer, but we thought, why don't we pick a diverse panel, bring in some thought leaders from diverse backgrounds in the industry, someone from the carrier perspective, shipper perspective, technology, marketplaces, brokerages, and have a discussion around how far the industry has come in the last decade, the challenges we face today, and what's coming next. And based on what's coming next, how do we navigate around that? And that's why we picked the topic of the future of auto transport, in hopes of getting a discussion going that would hopefully be helpful and make an impact on the overall auto transport community. So yeah, that's our topic, and we have an amazing panel today. So just a little bit of background on each panelist, and I'd like you to maybe just spend a moment. I'll go from top to bottom. I have Marco, Dean, Keven, and Derric on my screen. So if you could maybe tell us a little bit more about your background and your company. Marco, you have an incredible background in auto transport. You've spent a lot of time and have done incredible things at Montway, Jack Cooper. You're building things at McCollister's today. You are what's known as an auto transport alchemist, which I take it to be a creative solutions creator in auto transport. So if you could tell us a little bit about what your company does and a little bit about your background. And I'd like to know, when you got into this game, how did you get into the game? And when you got into the game, what surprised you the most about auto transport?
Sure, yeah. So McCollister's is a transportation, warehousing, and logistics solution company. We are actually celebrating our 75th year this year. So we've certainly been around for a while and seen lots of changes in the industry. Our auto program is a major cog in what we do, and that's actually really broken up into two key components. We have a division which is McCollister's Auto Transport, to where we actually own 80 plus of our own enclosed haulers. So we do have our own drivers and our own fleet, and we supplement that with what we call McCollister's Auto Logistics, which is acting as an auto transport management company. Some people might call it a broker. I think we're a little bit more than a broker. We supplement our trucks with partners or with asset-based carriers that we broker out to on the open side and on the enclosed side. We are generally in the B2B2C space, so that our customers are going to be comprised of corporate Americas, RMCs, relocation management companies, OEMs, auctions, dealerships, certainly. We work with a lot of businesses, which in turn comes with its own unique set of challenges and what have you. And really, we are a technology company at heart that just happens to move cars. We've built a platform which we call our Auto Vista portal, which Jay, I heard you use the term earlier, ecosystem, which I love. That's what that is. It's an ecosystem which allows us to connect all those layers together so that information is free flowing between all of those facets in order to deliver the best experience possible. And that's really our premise in the space. I got my start in this space about 10 years ago. I actually came over from a technology background. I worked for a company that was in the identity theft or financial field. And then I moved over to auto transport. And really the reason I moved over back to really touch on your question was, I was surprised when I looked at the space at just how antiquated it was, of just how much communication, wasn't streamlined, how there was a lack of technology, how people were still relying on multiple phone calls and phone tag trying to get information. And really, I felt that this was a prime space that if you came in with the right technology that was friendly to both brokers out there and carriers and customers that we would work with, we could really make a difference in the space. And that's really been my emphasis over my 10 years in this particular business.
Thanks, Marco. So what's the word? Antiquity?
Antiquated?
Antiquatedness of the industry. Well, that's what surprised you.
Absolutely. I mean, for an industry that moves as much as it does and does as much business with all the different connections in it, I was shocked with how poor communication was and the techniques used to communicate. It was just seemed like it was 20 or 30 years behind where it should be. It was the Kodak of the time, as you put it, back, and it really needed to improve.
Yeah, I believe it. It's interesting. And so in the Kansas City technology community, when we started building Super Dispatch and we would go out and tell people that this is what we're doing, people would not believe it. People wouldn't believe, like, there's no way you're telling me there's an entire industry that operates off of fax machines, spreadsheets, and printers and paperwork. So it's very interesting, but I think we've come a long way so far, right?
Absolutely. I've been happy with the changes that have been made. I think they've been driven by evolving customer expectations, which we'll certainly touch on later, but that's what I think has been the main factor as to why the industry has had to improve on its technological stance.
Great. Thank you. So moving over to Dean. Dean, you have an incredible background. You've been in this game for a long time. Back in the day in dependable auto shippers, you've had incredible success at uShip. You've spent some time at ACV, and you're very well known, very well respected executive in the industry. Tell us a little bit about what your work at uShip and what surprised you the most when you first got into the game.
Sure. Yeah, I've been, as you said, I've been in the auto transport world for almost 16 years now. I think I'm the only one with really gray hair on this thing. So I've spent 30 plus years in supply chain in general. But I think the biggest surprise for me was when I moved from DAS to uShip. I knew of uShip. I kind of, it was sort of like this fringe play. We had a partnership with them. Anyway, when I got there, I'm shocked as to how far they had advanced the antiquity of car shipping. And keep in mind, uShip is 17 years old. We pioneered the use of a marketplace. We were the first ones, and it was all focused on big and bulky. Automotive ended up being, and still is, one of our largest categories, but we're also moving a significant amount of freight, LTL freight, motorcycles, power sports, and a big player for us now is in-home delivery for furniture, white glove service. But the automotive side, I was really surprised as to the level of engagement that we had with carriers, directly with shippers, and these shippers were consumers. Because we were a neutral venue. All we were trying to do is connect the two parties and allow them to not only negotiate a fair price, but to pick the best provider based on feedback and things of that nature. So I kind of got sort of an eye-opener early in my tenure within auto transport as to what the future could be. And then here we are today with even more significant improvements in growth.
Thank you. And what surprised you the most when you first got into auto transport?
What surprised me? Well, working for a carrier, I didn't realize the complexities of just load planning, loading these cars, seeing these guys driving cars backwards up these ramps. I mean, I was just like, really, I'm saying, this is truly, I know there's a lot of science, but there's also a lot of art that goes along with it. And we had about 225 trucks. That was my first eye opener. It's different than loading a pallet of freight into the back of a 53-foot truck.
Yeah, it's really an art. There's actually a few years ago, I learned there was a company in Kansas City, a technology company was contracted by a large carrier fleet, auto transport fleet, and they were hired to automate the loading process for trucks. So we're supposed to create an algorithm that would build loads, and they would tell you how to load a truck. They spent 2 years and I think $1.5 million and failed. They could not replicate the skill that the drivers have built over the years on how to load the truck properly. Incredible.
I could imagine.
Thank you, Dean. Hey, Kevin, are you there?
Yeah. I'm having some internet issues, it seems like, but yeah, I'm here.
It's all good. I think we can hear you. So yeah, super happy that you're here. I'm glad you could make it. I know you work hard, you hustle hard. I see you out there. I watch your videos. You're out there 4 a.m. in the morning in the yard, loading and unloading. It's incredible. It's a family business. You're carrying on the torch. And just from getting to know you over time, I know how much passion you have for the industry. I know how much passion you have for the community. I know you're out there paying it forward, helping other car haulers with their businesses, and you've had a lot of success with your business. So tell us a little bit more about JP Auto Transport and where you see JP heading, as well as what surprised you the most when you came up in the industry.
Mic check. We lost him for a second. He'll be right back, but
here in the next 30.
This is where I act like I'm on the Starship Enterprise. And,
Turbulence.
Yeah, turbulence.
Hey, Kevin. Kevin, until you get back, let's go over to Derric, and we'll come back to you. Sound good? All right, Derric. So, Derric, you have an awesome story. I love your story. You've also been in this game for a long time. You were part of that antiquated industry. You were hauling cars, right? You were a car hauler. You saw a problem, right? And you knew it had to be solved. You knew something had to be done, and you did something about it. So, and that's incredible. And I love that about you. You care, you have passion, and you were very active about trying to bring a change in the industry. So yeah, tell us a little bit about Car Delivery Network, how you got into the industry, and what really surprised you when you first got into the industry.
Yeah, Bek, thank you. And again, I don't know if you guys heard earlier, but yeah, I think it's a great panel. I'm so glad to be here tonight. Thank you for inviting me. Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Bek. Anyway, I got into this industry about 22 years ago, 1999, 88 or 98, 99, right around there. I was working for a finance company, and so we started, they were repoing cars, and cars were coming in left and right. And I had been in the auto industry, but just on my dad had a few car lots. And so I knew guys in the car industry around here. So I thought I'd have a closed bid auction with all these cars that were coming in. And so the CEO of the company came up and he said, Derric, you got to get rid of some of these cars. We got more cars coming in, we got to have more space. So I had a closed bid auction on Saturday. We ran the auction, sold majority of the cars. And for 2 weeks, the cars sat there. Nothing moved. So I sold the cars, but they just sat there. So my boss comes to me again. He's like, Derric, I've asked you, you got to get these cars moved. We're out of space. We don't have any. So I went and bought a 1-ton dually and a 3-car wedge trailer and started hauling those cars for those guys on the weekends.
Nice.
And this, again, is back in 1998, 99. You don't see that. You didn't see it back then like you see it today. And on those weekends, I would literally have guys pulling me over on the side of the road, telling me, hey, will you haul my cars? I just bought a load at Dallas Auto Auction, well, it wasn't DFW. DFW wasn't around then, but it was Adesa or Dallas Auto Auction or Dealers Auto Auction here in Grand Prairie. And so I just started hauling cars, and before I know it, my brother was in it with me and my dad was in it with me. And then I had a whole bunch of guys that wanted to start driving trucks and hauling cars. And we were making, you could make a lot of money back then. Yeah. And it just grew from that, and turned around a few years later and we had 20-something trucks running. And that's when I started looking for technology. I was like, there has got to be a better way. I kept getting screwed every time I'd deliver cars to a dealership. You'd leave, you'd get a signed BOL, and then 2 days later they'd say, oh, you damaged the vehicle. I'd be like, no, we didn't damage. You got a signed, clean BOL piece of paper here. And they're like, no, there's a scratch we found, a day later, you got to pay for it. So we started looking for a solution to solve this, and my dad came across the guys over in the UK. We didn't realize they were in the UK when we emailed them, but CDN had just started up. And about 2 weeks later, they were on our front doorstep of our office. And so that's kind of how we got connected with those guys. They came in and showed us an app that they had for delivering vehicles. And I was like, holy crap, this is going to change the industry. This is exactly what I need. Well, I got out there in my truck and I started using that app, and I found out really quick it really wasn't exactly what I needed. There was a lot of changes that needed to be made. So luckily, they started listening to what I was telling them and how to make the changes and the tweaks that a driver would need, running the app through as the process of a driver would do it. And so that's basically how CDN came to where it is, for a shorter part of the story to where we are today.
Yeah, that's such a good story. I love that story. And great guys over UK. I've met the rest of your team, incredible guys. Really good people. So I really enjoyed getting to know the rest of your team. And thank you. I mean, because of you, you've made a huge impact. You've helped a lot of people. You've become a big part of this. These are the early days, right? Like you're one of the first pioneers of digitization in this industry. So
yeah, that was an uphill battle, Bek. I mean, as you well know, trying to get drivers to understand that this, an ePod app could actually help them, although it's a pain in the ass sometimes, but in the long run, it could really help them run their businesses better. But golly, it was an uphill battle, and we're still fighting that battle in some cases, for some instances, as I'm sure you well know. So
well, keep fighting, man. We are an army now.
Yeah.
You're not alone. There are a bunch of us. There's more people in the audience, right? We got our teams at ClearPath. We got our folks in Ohio at SuperFlo. It's an army. So we got this. Keven, do we have you back? Keven, is that a still photo of you? Are you there?
We got, he's got a placeholder.
All right. That's how I fake it when I don't want to show up to the meeting. Just put my picture in the background.
Oh man, I saw an awesome thing. It was an oscillating fan with maybe a hanger attached to a mouse moving across a desk, and that's how they proved that they were at work.
There's a trick. So if you can record yourself nodding in a loop as a video. You can set up a video as a background, and you don't have to be there. You can just have a video of yourself just nodding, or occasionally nodding, maybe not.
That's what Kevin's got. He's here.
Yeah,
he's actually loading cars right now.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, the internet's going in and out of my office building now, so I apologize. Sorry about that.
Got you, man. We got you.
Yeah.
So tell us. So JP, tell us a little bit about JP Auto Transport, and tell us a little bit about what really surprised you when you got into the industry. So Keven is saying that he was a little kid when he first saw his dad hauling cars, and it was love at first sight. All right, we'll come back to Keven. So,
he's here, Keven.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you guys got me?
Tell your story, Keven.
Gotcha. Like I said, we're a family business, so we have 5 trucks right now. We're in the market for 6, 7, and 8. Hopefully, if everything goes according to plan, we'll have those in the next 30 days. But we're located out of Los Angeles, California. Been doing this for about 20 years. Like I mentioned earlier, my father started as a tow truck operator, and now we have five of these semi-truck trailers. I took over the business, took over growth about 4 or 5 years ago, and since then we're trying to grow. I'm here on the show with a gentleman whose company has 100 trucks. I think he mentioned 100 enclosed trucks. Other gentlemen mentioned 20, 30.
He's talking about you, right, Marco? You're the guy with 9
internet.
enclosed.
Man, it's brutal.
Yeah.
Marco, what's the coolest event that you guys do, that you guys transport for?
Well, we're the official auto transporter for Mecum auctions, if anyone's familiar with Mecum. So if you're up late at night, ESPN2 or what have you, you might see them on TV. And, you know, they have a lot of events, auctions throughout the country. So, and they normally deal in collector cars or, you know, more high-end type cars. So we're able to see those and obviously be at those events, and that's its own unique experience. I mean, you get people there who are so passionate about cars that it's great to hang out with them, and some of these cars are just amazing. That's always been a great experience because it gets us into a side of the auto transport space that isn't, you know, seen as much as daily drivers or what have you. So whenever there's a Mecum show in town, it's always a fantastic event, not only to see the cars, but the people there. It's such a great experience to meet with people and talk with them. And they love the fact that we're a carrier. We often park our trucks right there on the spot too. And they love seeing the trucks. They're interested how they work and, you know, everything else that goes along with it. So I would say that's a pretty cool experience that we're privileged to experience at McCollister's.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. It's a good time. Someday, hopefully I can afford a car from a Mecum auction. Someday.
There you go, Bek.
In the meantime, I'll keep collecting the pictures. So
absolutely.
Just want to talk to the audience for a second. Jay, by the way, I love your audience. Such an active audience.
Wow.
Really learn a lot.
Thank you.
So
thank you, audience.
Please take as many t-shirts as you like. Email Casey. She'll hook you up. They are really nice. I sometimes I sleep in them. They're so comfy. But I'm going to be asking questions from the panel, but why don't you chime in and with your answers and feedback and your own questions. If you have questions for the panel, anyone specifically, for anyone on the panel, myself or Jay, feel free to chat your question. If you have answers, feel free to chat it in. Some of your comments are actually in line with my next question. So you guys in the audience are talking about some of the challenges in the industry today with communication between shippers and brokers and carriers. You're sharing some comments about phone tag or companies leaving you hanging. So there's lack of communication, right? Earlier, we were talking about, how do I call Manheim? 1-800-Manheim and say, yo, dude, I'm on my way.
Yeah.
Get my car's ready.
Yeah.
How do I not waste 4 hours at Manheim trying to pick up my load? So my question to the panel and really to the audience is, what are the challenges? So yeah, there's some technology. There's an army of companies today solving a lot of the pain points and problems, but we're not really quite there yet, right? There's still a struggle. There's still some antiquities. So what are some challenges that we're still facing today? So if we could please go around, whoever wants to start first.
I'm going to jump right in. I know what to say.
Do it.
Okay, so we all know that there's a lot of attention that goes into central dispatch. And we know they're working hard to update and get to the next iteration. But Sue and I, we took a look. We actually had a lot of feedback, maybe too much. So I don't want to put them on the burner. That's not the purpose. But given that point of view, how do we make sure that when we make updates and improvements, we listen to the users and make the changes needed? That's actually a lot to ask, right? Because developing software is no small feat.
You know, from my perspective back, I think the thing that I've seen that continues to be a challenge, someone made a comment earlier about app fatigue or app overload, is getting these carriers engaged. You know, I mean, I think them embracing technology, they've come a very long way. And I would say that's probably not really an issue. The issue is they're so bombarded with all of these requirements of use this app for this type of movement. And I think that causes a lot of friction. And, you know, especially now that we know that our driver population is an older population. You know, in 2008, we lost a big chunk of that mid-aged driver And so what we're left with a lot of the old guys and gals. And so, yeah, I think that's the challenge too, is how do we make their lives more streamlined so that they can engage, they can provide updates, they can do a better job communicating. Because I really do think they want to. It's just sometimes they just get into almost like a, just a no-win situation.
Yeah, it's tough. That's probably one of the things we also hear a lot about. We went from like no technology to now you're saying too much technology. So maybe there's a balance there. Marco, Derric, do you guys have any thoughts around specific challenges, maybe specifically around central dispatch?
Well, I think central dispatch serves a purpose, right? I don't think anyone's going to say that it's, something that we don't need. It's designed to bring carriers together. It's designed to bring brokers together, maybe even some auto dealers. But I also think that if you are relying on just central dispatch as the main cog for your either communication or dispatching or what have you, that's probably not a good strategy on the long term, right? I think when you want to become a blue chip carrier or a blue chip broker, it's all about building relationships and partnerships between those companies so that that's your primary methodology of working together, is building that rapport, knowing how you need to communicate with one another. To Dean's point, is there's so many apps and everything else out there, is it becomes overwhelming, especially for an older population that is being told we need to adapt, right? We need to start using technology in order to keep up with consumer demands. So I think really the key to this is finding a way to communicate directly, because there's 3 keys to being successful in this business. And I'm going to rank these in order for everyone, okay? Communication, communication, and communication. If you solve that problem, you're going to be successful at what you do. And we've seen that with our clients. I kind of relate it to the Amazon effect, Bek, which is people in today's age, they want information now, right? You have Prime, you have next day, you have same day, you have when I press the button, I want someone to break in my house and put the item in my hand right now. That's what the expectation is of the consumer. Almost.
That's a good feature.
And we need to adapt to that to be able to provide that information, because that's what they expect. And technology definitely is the way to do that. But it's also about forming true partnerships so that we work together harmoniously, because you really can't have one without the other, right? Brokers and carriers really need each other to make this work, and you have to work as a team. That's always been my approach towards this business.
That's actually a great point. So just a second, Derric, you have something to say, right? But this is along the communication lines. There's in the chat, there's a lot of chatter about this lack of communication or reliability. So touch a little bit, if we could touch on a little bit of the how. So we understand, and I think we recognize communication is key, just like, a location with real estate or restaurant or whatever, not communication with logistics, right? So the how do we do that? In the audience, we have technology providers, we have car haulers, brokers, shippers. How do we collectively get to a point where we're nailing it at communicating with each other?
It's a lot easier said than done, but Bek, as you well know, we Car Delivery Network started talking with you and with other guys several years ago about a data exchange type deal where the data is all exchanged between the different software providers. So it doesn't matter really what app you use or what system you use. We can connect and exchange the data. So I think it goes back to just everybody aligning to use the same methods of communicating that data where it's all aligned. Jay, we talked about it on your show, a year and a half ago.
I looked it up, February 2019.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Go ahead.
It's you know, if we all stay separated and fragmented from the technology and from the carrier side of things, it doesn't do anything to really advance the industry. You end up with where you are now, where you have, you know, these drivers have 20 and 30 different apps on their phones, and they don't know what to use and when to use it. And that goes back to what Dean said earlier. We're just creating mass carnage for the older generation that's trying to, you know, to do the right thing, but it's just so confusing at times. What app do I use? When do I use this? How do I use this? And we're going that way now with this data exchange deal, it seems, because although, you know, 5 or 6 years ago, there was one of us talking about it with a bunch of carriers. Now we've got 3 or 4 guys talking to the carriers about it. And it's like, you know, kind of like rabbits. If you have 2 rabbits, pretty soon how many rabbits you can have? So, I mean, I get it. It's a free market enterprise, and you know, the cream will rise to the top and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you know, everybody's got an app, everybody's got a system, and there's no standard out there for anybody to really adhere to. There really needs to be some standards put in place within the industry, especially in the used car side of things.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to say, and also we talked in February 2019 when we talked at AHA in May 2019. You know, this is these types of discussions, conferences, virtual events. This is, I think, an important stepping stone in achieving that next level communication. Back to you.
Yeah, thanks. And you're right, Derric. I mean, there's a lot of effort. I think technology is trying to catch up, right? Technology is trying to. You guys built a data exchange, ClearPath TMS, Launch Plateau. There are multiple efforts to trying to bridge that gap with technology, but we're not quite there yet. And if in the audience you guys have any ideas around what we're missing, we're definitely missing the carrier perspective on this panel. Keven is not here, but in the audience, if you guys have any ideas on how we can move the community and the industry forward on maybe you have ideas for the technology providers, maybe you have ideas for the shipper and the broker community, on maybe you have idea for the marketplace platforms on what they can do to help transparency and communication improve. So let's go back at just in our audience, we have a lot of people that are small businesses up and coming and trying to figure out, Marco, you mentioned becoming a blue chip carrier, right? Developing relationships. The relationships are key in a lot of businesses. So if I'm starting out as a carrier, as a broker, as a shipper, as well, whatever, what are some lessons learned and mistakes to avoid when in the early days? And again, unless we get Keven back in the audience, if there are carriers there, please do share your lessons learned and mistakes to avoid as well in the chat. Marco, please. Thank you.
Sure. So, I mean, I think the first primary thing to understand is that it truly is a partnership between carriers and brokers, to the point where when things happen great, you can both take credit for that. But when things happen poorly or when mistakes are made, you have to be honest about that, right? You can't try and hide or try and cover up something because you're worried about the broker and the broker coming back to you and, you know, saying, hey, I can't use you anymore, or you guys have, you know, been too inconsistent with us, we have to go on to someone else. In all the years that I've been in this, I've run into obviously several problems along the way, but we've always been able to work out a solution. But the best solutions have been worked out when you're working together, right, with the other side. So as long as brokers and carriers are being transparent about what's going on, you could come up with a solution, because if you try to band-aid that, or you try and, you know, come up with excuses, I guarantee you it's going to get back to that end customer somehow. At some point, it's going to blow up in your face, and it's going to be worse as opposed to just being upfront with it in the beginning. So I think that's the number one lesson to be learned, is that you take the good with the good, but when something bad happens, you rely on your partner, right, to get through it. You're in this together. It's a true team type of operation. And it's not one versus the other. You don't pass the buck over. You come up with tangible solutions. You deal with the cards in your hand as opposed to trying to make excuses. I think that's the biggest lesson learned is don't be afraid to make mistakes. They're going to happen, but own up to them, right? That's what I think is a key.
That's a great lesson. Thank you, Marco.
Hey, Jay, I was looking here. There was one of the guys in the chat, Nick, responded, and thank you, Nick, for your response, that there's AIAG, and that is true. AIAG is one standard that we have in the industry, and I think we need more like that, more like an AIAG with the damage codes. So anyway, thanks, Nick, for that.
Yeah, and good point, Derric. I saw that too, and I think in clarification, because I've trying to learn as much as I can about what AIAG does, and while they do a lot of standards, it's not the standards that you were talking about, is it? It's a different type of standard.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but it is a standard, and the OEM side adheres to that standard for damage claim, and there's probably some other things that they do. So, but yeah, I'm more referring to the technology and communication side of things between the different companies and how, when does a vehicle that's picked up, when does it get reported picked up? Should that happen automatically, and who all should get notification of that? Should we rely on the driver to actually have to touch a button on his phone or on his tablet, or should we just, should that be a what do you call it? A waypoint or something like that, where he crosses over outside of a boundary, and it marks it picked up automatically. Just things like that. We could sit here for days and talk about the standardization issues.
But it's a really good point, Dean. I hear what you're.
Yeah, I was going to say one thing Derric mentioned that I really believe in is also when you talk about cooperation. For the last few years, there's been like this arms race around marketplaces. Everybody's starting up their own load boards, and they're, for the most part, transactional. And central dispatch, we know will get there eventually. But my point is, this idea of co-opetition, right? Yes, we compete with one another, but I think there's something to be said for cooperation of sharing capacity, where marketplaces are working together and, be able to hopefully make it even easier for carriers to find quality loads and to Derric's point, create some consistency on how that happens. But it's kind of like leveraging a lot of the technology that's out there today especially from a marketplace standpoint. So I think there's another way to kind of make the carriers' lives a little bit easier.
Yeah, good point, Dean. There's some really good feedback from the audience as well that I want to share with the rest of the audience. Brenda Parada says accountability from all parties is key. Amen to that. Brian Ardman, free idea for all the technology providers from Brian Ardman. I want to click a button, book a load, have access to gate passes, documents, etc., all without being an investigator to confirm and find the unit.
Amen.
Great. Just push a button.
Amen to that.
We all.
Yeah, we all are going to agree with that.
Free idea to the technology providers out there. BM says, when calling to request a load, ask all questions about the car. Then call the auction to confirm. If you cannot confirm, do not move until you have all the answers. Communication is key. I know that some of the larger brokerages out there, they've had entire call centers, and their entire jobs are to verify cars all day long. Natalia says, as a broker, she's always willing to work with carriers who own up to the mistakes, to Marco's point, and work on fixing them or offer to take accountability themselves. A lot of points on accountability, which actually leads me to this next portion of our conversation about the future of auto transport, right? So we've we've made it a long way. We've made a lot of progress. There's some good progress. We now have technology. We've now come together as a community, thanks to Jay and other influencers in our space. So what is the future for carriers and shippers? What is the future for brokers? And in this future, so what do you think it's going to be? And if you just had a magic wand, and if you could have it the way you want it, or what's the Burger King? Don't they have a slogan? Have it the way you want.
Have it your way.
The way you. How does it go?
Have it your
Have
way.
it your way.
Have it your way. Yeah, have it your way.
You could have it your way with a magic wand. What does the future of auto transport look like for carriers, shippers, and brokers, and all the other players? What do you guys think? And while the panel is answering, I'd love to get your input as well from the audience as well. What do you think is going to happen? What would you like to see happen?
I think, I'm going to bring the carriers up again. I think the future holds, and it plays off a little bit of what somebody mentioned about pushing a button. I think the future is where carriers really don't have to look for loads anymore. I think it becomes, I call it, either predictive freight matching or leveraging, machine learning, but understanding the traits of that particular carrier, what they like to haul, where they're going, or where we anticipate them going. So you take another decision point out, and I'm not talking about a load for tomorrow. I'm talking about where they can be, tapped on the shoulder 3, 4, 5 days out, and keep them loaded, keep them moving. To me, that would be a big step for the carrier community.
Yep, Bek, I don't know if I had a magic wand, what I would do, to change anything really, or how I could make the perfect industry. I think a lot though about what the future of our industry looks like, and I kind of sit back and I'm wondering when a large 3PL is going to get in this game and step in between the OEM. They're doing it with Manheim, right? So DHL just stepped in between all that for the transportation, and I get it. They've done it with UPS, and they've done it with a couple others. But I'm wondering when that's going to happen in the OEM side of things. You get a big company like that with a lot of money, a lot of resources coming in, stepping in between the carrier and the OEM, and handling all that freight. There's one or two things that'll happen. I think if and when that does happen, there'll be a big consolidation of the large size carriers, right? And so where I see the industry kind of as a triangle with the big guys up at the top, and as the triangle goes down, you get all the way down to the one truck guys down at the very bottom of the triangle, the broad side end of the triangle. The triangle will flatten, and there'll be less big carriers up there, maybe one or two large carriers, because they'll all consolidate. They'll have to, and it'll just make the broad end of the bottom of the triangle even more broader, where there's just more smaller companies out there hauling cars. It kind of happened with Ready. If you guys, when I was hauling for a lot of the auctions, I wasn't dealing with several different auctions anymore. I was just dealing with Ready. And I'm just kind of waiting for that to happen in the OEM side of things, with somebody stepping in, and where today a carrier might deal with 3 or 4 OEMs. He won't deal with 3 or 4 in the future. He'll only deal with 1 3PL, and a lot of those lanes and those ramps will be divided up for the smaller guys to get in there and play. I think technology is taking us there, and I think that the technology that some of these carriers have available to them today is the same technology that these larger companies had. It's just on a smaller scale. And as that keeps advancing, the technology side of things, these small guys are going to catch up to the big guys from the technology side. They'll be able to connect to the OEMs, logs, and everything else. It's going there. That's what I think.
So I'll kind of take on the magic wand aspect, if you will, back. So what I think hopefully is going to happen, and Derric, to your point, is I think eventually we're going to get to the point where there will be standards that are set, right? We're going to get to the point where that's going to become necessary in order, again, for us to meet the demands of end consumers. You can have your choice of what TMS or whatever you might want to be using, but it's all pulling data from a centralized space. The other thing I'd like to see too is the ease of that information automatically flowing to where we're taking the effort and less of the burden on the carriers and trying to automate the sending of that information as much as possible. And one of the spaces right now, if I had that magic wand out, is if there was a way to automatically get updates, whether I'm bringing up words like GPS or I'm bringing in words like tracking, to where you are automatically able to get positioning on where carriers are when you broker out to them. That's the biggest challenge I see right now in the broker space, is that end customers are demanding, where is my car? Why can't you tell me where my car is, right? I buy a $5 tube of toothpaste from Amazon. I know where it is all the time, but I'm shipping a car and you can't tell me where that's at. Now, listen, shipping a car is much more complicated than shipping out a tube of toothpaste, but the premise of the customer is the same. I want the information now whenever I decide I want to see it. If it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I want to see where my car is, there should be a means that I should be able to do that. And it's going to be reliant upon, again, carriers and brokers sharing information through a system that has set standards so that it benefits the industry as a whole. So that's, if I had to do my magic wand right now, I wish that existed, because that would take a lot of the pain and suffering out. The biggest complaints we get from our accounts is, where's the car? Why can't I get an accurate update? And we put too much burden on drivers who have a million other things going on to try and predict to us where they are without using tangible data as far as, this is where I'm at, this is how far I am to destination. That gives you a better idea of when your car is going to be delivered.
And,
great point.
Marco, the technology, I mean, Bek knows it, the technology is there today to provide that level. It's there.
Oh, absolutely. It's about adoption, right? It's about pushing, leadership, pushing their drivers as to why we need to have this. And it's just about coming together. I agree it's there, but it doesn't do us much good unless we're all using it and putting it together.
The carriers have to be willing to share that data, right?
Correct. Yep.
And when you got a driver that doesn't want to hit, and I get that, so.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's important to recognize that, there's reasons why carriers might not want to share that data, right? It gives them somewhat of a comfort zone to where if they want to change routes or suddenly pick up another vehicle that wasn't originally planned, I get that. But I still think ultimately, when it boils down to it, we're going to get there at some point in time, at least the ones who are successful in this space.
I agree. Yep. It goes back to communication. Whoever communicate.
Top 3 things, my friend, in order. There you go.
We're quick learners.
Those are great points. Yeah, Amazon sort of set the bar high with not just the consumer community, but the business community as well. And now the rest of us are catching up to that, which is actually a good thing. We had some really good input from the audience as well. I want to read out a couple of inputs. Exotic hotshot. So interesting, contrarian view on this topic. Less communication. Algorithms can do that for us, drivers. We can do less talking or texting on the phone. Great point. I want to get back to that with a question. Definitely earned a t-shirt with all of your input, Exotic Hotshot. Terry Brown, as for changes and issues with weather or breaking down in traffic, there should be an option to update. Good point. Goes back to communication and visibility. Brenda Parada, empty trucks will soon start picking up residency deliveries to avoid empty trucks. Yeah, I think there's plenty of business to go around, really. I mean, a lot of times we're just not connecting business that's available with carriers that can move it yet. But in the very near future, some of those problems will definitely be solved. So Jay, I know we have 5 minutes before it's 10 o'clock. Is that our Is that the last? We have what? Room for maybe one closing question?
Well, everybody knows I'll stay up another hour. So.
All right. So should I open the liquor?
Keep going. But here's what I want to ask. I want to ask this. So when you buy a car on Carvana, can you log into your pizza tracker at 2 a.m. and find out what city your car is in? Does Carvana provide that level of service? I don't know the answer.
I'm not sure either.
And the reason I'm saying Carvana is Carvana, leading the pack on so many other topics, and we know they're in auto transport now, hub and spoke. They've got, stingers, flatbeds. They got everything going on. So what's their pizza tracker look like? I know we see more driver information in commercials, and there's been a couple social media events, but I'm not putting them on the spot. I'm just asking the question. What's their pizza tracker look like? I don't know.
I mean, they have a vending machine. They might as well have a pizza tracker, right?
Thank you.
I mean, it kind of depends, right? I mean, is it going on their own assets? Visibility is never an issue when the cars are going on your own assets, because everyone is tracking their own assets. It's whenever the multi-vendor visibility is the problem. Whenever the car keeps exchanging hands between different carriers, different terminals, is when we'll lose sight of it. That's when we have to sort of pick up the phone and say, yo, where are you at? Need to know where the car is at. So I think, but the gap, I think to Marco's earlier point, I mean, the gap, I think we're bridging the gap, and Derric mentioned that as well. I think the community needs to sort of come along, but see, the problem is you're asking carriers to track them during the transportation of the vehicle, but which is great for the shipper. What's in it for the carrier? What is the incentive for the carrier to share the location in transit?
So could I just touch on that real quick, Bek? Is that is the exact difficulty that we dealt with. And because we have put together some technology that allows us to track our non-asset based carriers, but it's an opt-in basis. And in order to help them do that, we actually incentivize them for that, Bek. Because to your point, is they're giving us something extra that maybe they're not used to. So we want to return that favor. Again, remember, partnership. It's either going to incentivize them to give them options to become more of a preferred carrier to where they can accept loads that we have prior to other carriers who wouldn't. Or in some cases, quite frankly, we're going to offer to pay that carrier more because of the fact that we're able to track and we know where they're at. I mean, that's really what it is. You get an advanced service and you pay a little bit more for it. And we found that, at least, that is a value proposition that's a win-win for us because of the effect it has on our ability to communicate with our accounts. So we're definitely in the process of incentivizing our carriers because we do feel that we're asking for more than is standard right now, but hopefully that becomes a standard at some point in the future.
Yeah. Thanks, Marco. Dean, did you have something to add to that?
We're taking the same approach, is to create incentives, because I agree with Marco. It starts and stops with the carrier, and we don't have enough carriers as it is, and there has to be something for them, and there's a lot of different things that you can do, but the bottom line, they've got to view it as value in order for them to get as engaged as you want, and we're making some pretty good strides as well on that front.
It's gonna happen. Somebody's gonna crack the how. It's gonna happen. Yeah. It might happen this year, maybe next year, but it's going to happen soon. So let's see, Paul Jewett from the audience. Why not give customer updates based on distance from delivery location instead of GPS coordinates? Great idea. Do we really need to know where exactly the driver is at any given time? Or is the problem that we don't know where the driver is, or is the problem that we need a better ETA? That might maybe help drive the conversation around making it more comfortable. So that you're not being tracked, you're just providing more updates without the phone calls. It's a great idea. Paul Jewett, you own yourself a t-shirt. I hope you claim one. A lot of good ideas from the audience today. We could probably just take a lot of these ideas and just a lot of these technology companies on the show today, just go out and implement. I mean, if we really put our mind to it, we could probably deliver something like this in the next 6 to 12 months.
How about, because Amazon says only 8 more stops before your delivery.
Yeah.
You could have only 8 more cities before. Okay.
You know, speaking of tracking and sort of knowing where your assets are, I got a call recently from a customer, and this is a shipper customer, and the guy goes, "Hey, I'm in a situation. And the carrier is holding my car hostage. I don't know where my car is. What can I do?" And I had some ideas, but you know, it feels like in auto transport, every other week something crazy is going down. Something is happening. So I wanted to, and you guys have been in this game much longer than I have. I wanted to ask you guys a little bit about what are some craziest things that you've encountered in your time in auto transport?
Well, I go back to my DAS days, and we had a terminal network that we operated, and we actually had an older woman bring her car to the terminal, and the request was, in the back seat was her pet was in a kennel, and she wanted to know if the car could be transported with the air conditioning on, so that the pet would survive the trip. I swear to God, it was like, no, ma'am, we're gonna need to turn it off, take the keys. We can roll down the window a little bit, but I don't think you want your dog going cross country in a car.
And so there's the driver with his clipboard. Dog died.
Right. That's on the
Oh my
BOL,
God.
right? That's a special spot in Super Dispatch. Take pictures of that. Yeah. I'll tell a quick story. Is that we had a customer once who apparently had an aftermarket or GPS type of tracking device in their vehicle, and we were moving the vehicle from Washington to Florida. The tracking device was picking up the movement of the transport truck, right? Because the car itself wasn't moving; it was on the transport hauler. This GPS wasn't updating that the vehicle was moving. So the whole time he was enraged with us, saying, "You're not moving my car. You're lying. It's stolen. You guys are crooks." And, we were in communication with our carrier partner who said, "Marco, listen, I'm delivering this car tomorrow." So tomorrow comes, we call the guy and we say, "Listen, the truck's there. He's going to be there in about an hour." Again, going off, calling us everything under the sun. I call him saying the driver's right around the corner. He'll be there. No, he's not. He actually gets his employer on the phone too, trying to talk about us. Next thing I know, I hear in the background I hear our truck pull up. Dead silence. And he realizes he's been wrong this whole time. The next day, I got an email from his wife basically explaining how her husband is a typical male, and it's his fault because he thought that we were lying, but she apologized profusely. But it's just one of those cases to where they always want to, blame you for something, even when things are going correct. So that GPS story is famous in our office location for the car that magically showed up from Washington.
That is an incredible story. I love that story.
John Robertson says carriers are hiding the car, quote unquote, because it's damaged, and they're trying to get it fixed before they deliver. Maybe he has a point there.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah.
A lot of cars get damaged, right? So a lot of cars get damaged. It's sort of the reality of the industry. So what's the best way to handle that? Let's say I'm a car hauler. I'm a new car hauler. I just picked up a car and I damage it. What's from the shipper's perspective and from the marketplace perspective, from the carrier perspective on the audience, how do I deal with that? How does a carrier, how does a shipper, how does a broker deal with damages? What's the right way? What's the proper etiquette so that we can have problems and still stay friends and partners and continue doing business?
The proper etiquette is to be honest about it, right? The proper etiquette is to not try and hide it. Don't have a paint kit on your truck and try and touch up the paint on scratches, right? Don't try and say, "Hey, my truck broke down and we found out that the car has been in a body shop for 2 days because you've been trying to repair a panel." again, all that's going to bite you in the rear at some point. Just be honest. Things happen. This is nature of the business. But when you're honest and communicate, that's the best way around it. So at least that's my advice is, things are going to happen. But when you're honest about it, it speaks volumes about you and your organization, as opposed to trying to pull the wool over someone's eyes.
Yeah, and bad news travels fast too, because with all the feedback platforms, and you could, I don't care how big you are, or I know on uShip everybody's feedback rated. Something like that were to happen, everybody's going to know. It's just not worth the risk, like you said.
Good point. So the BM in chat says, "You pay for the damage. That's it." And Dennis Robbins, from the shipper's perspective, again, honesty is the best policy. Great point. Be honest and we'll work with you. Hide it and we're done with you. So, which sort of leads to the trust thing, which is another thing that really comes up a lot. There's high turnover rate. There's lots of new carriers and shippers and brokers coming and going into the industry. And so how do we build trust? A carrier is hesitant. Carrier doesn't know, is the shipper going to pay? They haven't been around. They may not have any ratings. How does a carrier build trust with the shippers? And how do shippers build trust with the carriers, especially considering they're entrusting high value assets to them? How have you guys seen trust being built in the industry? And what are the quick hacks on how to build trust?
I'm sorry, Dean. Go ahead.
No, go ahead,
Dean.
Oh, you go.
I was going to say that, the first thing is that builds that honesty is you saying that what you're going to do, you actually do it. So if you tell the customer you're going to pick it up at 8 a.m. tomorrow, you're there at 8 a.m. tomorrow to pick it up. That's the first part of the trust process in this. And then if something happens where you can't make it, because things do happen, you pick up the phone and you call them and explain, hey, this happened, I'm going to be late, or whatever. It's all about the communication piece. I think it goes back to that. Marco, you hit it on the head when you said that earlier, because it was one of my answers that I had from that little sheet that Bek sent out. Communication. Yeah, I think that it starts with you doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. And if something happens, you're on the phone with your customer explaining, hey, this is what came up, and talking to them about it, communicating.
So we got technology, right? So clearly there's communication problems. There's always pricing, rate problems. I feel like they're ever present. We have trust issues, and whatever all these problems that we're having, how does technology solve that? So if we look ahead, let's say next 3 to 5 to 10 years, how do we use technology, or what do we do to solve all these problems, trust issues and communication problems? Are there tools? Are there certain behaviors? What are the moves, or what are the technology advancements that need to happen for us to be able to solve these problems? Or what are some things that would make it better?
I think part of building trust is, especially as you look at the shipper-carrier relationship, where we have the ability to really reward carriers that are legal, are compliant, that we can give shippers the confidence that you work with this guy, not this guy, and creating that transparency so that you do truly reward the guys that run their business the right way. But you've also got to be able to, not only from a technology standpoint, sort of manage all of that information to make sure it's correct and up to date, but also for the shipper to easily indicate, here's what I'm looking for, right? And that's, that you create, that's when you start really creating a stronger relationship. I can reflect back, oh gosh, it's probably been 6 or 7 years ago when payments was a big deal for carriers. Brokers weren't paying them, and the surety bond was increased to try to help And we went and said, look, we got to figure out a way that these guys get paid quickly and reliably, and they know that the money's there. And I can't tell you the impact that had on our relationships with our carriers. You've got to be in their corner, and like I said before, it starts with these guys, starts and ends with them. But you got to create a confidence level with the carrier, or the shipper too.
Dean, that raises a great point. So basically what happened was somebody raised the bar for the broker's barrier to entry, right? You had to have a whole lot more money now to be able to buy that surety bond to become a broker, to get your broker's license. I think about it all the time. Should we be raising the bar for commercial drivers, for auto haulers? I mean, not a lot of kids aspire. I mean, yeah, sure. When I looked at a big truck, I had the sparkle in my eye. That's why I started driving a truck a long time ago. But a lot of kids don't have that, and especially today, they don't want to get in a truck and drive. And if we raise that barrier to entry, more training, I don't know, maybe it's more money with the license to get your authority and all that kind of stuff. There's less trucks on the road, but that's going to also create that demand, which would raise rates, create safer highways. You just have a higher caliber person out there on the road than just anybody that can buy a truck and a trailer and get out there and start hauling cars. Because as you and I both know, that happens quite a bit today. I mean, so
and
I always wonder about that. And Jay, that might be a whole nother show, but raising the bar for the carrier, or the driver.
What about?
Good point.
But that's how the broker or the shipper can enable these carriers, right? Like you said, Derric, it could be, hey, I'm going to provide you a way to get your authority. Hey, maybe we can even help you get liability and cargo insurance and really kind of bring them along. Because, the other thing you talked about training, that pandemic put a big dent in drivers that wanted to learn to drive. Training schools were shut down. Testing centers were shut down. All of the support systems, you couldn't, and they're still trying to get like just the DMV, so there's a backlog of drivers that I'm sure we'll see soon as things start to loosen up a little bit more. But yeah, you're right. I think we have to, that builds trust. If a carrier knows you're in it to help them be better, that's got to go a long way.
What about, so you're talking about raising the bar for the driver, right? What about these autonomous trucks? And most importantly, I get it, you can't load, a truck by itself can't load cars, I get that, but what about autonomous vehicles? I know electric vehicles are coming sooner, but 5-10 year horizon, are we gonna have jobs? Jay, are you gonna have a show if all the cars are driving themselves? Do we need to go get different jobs?
Okay.
I don't
so
think,
what about that? I mean, I understand like electronic itself, the weight categories and all that is another problem, but eventually if the cars are driving themselves, what does that mean for us?
I'll be retired.
Not your problem. Got it.
Okay, so I think, as I talk about the hybrid, I think one of the things that could happen is the driver, dispatcher, broker, customer service, wearing all one hats in the truck hybrid. I don't know, but it seems like an interesting option. I don't know.
Yeah, you'd have to understand the economics too. If these things are driving themselves from New York to Florida, or versus the way now there's some level of consolidation of vehicles onto a truck, and their ability to traverse that kind of distance. I don't know. I mean, I think it's out there, but I think it's way out there.
But I don't think it's a 5-year-old with a remote control. I don't think
Xbox.
I hope not. Right.
Yeah. And I mean, what I'll say too is that, listen, auto haul is a skilled business, right? It takes skill to do this. And for a basic consumer, there's a level of that human contact and security when there's a person there who you see taking care of your car and getting it out of a truck or getting it off of a truck and you're communicating with as well. You know, as far as the public's appetite for it, I think that publicly talking to someone about, wouldn't it be great to have an autonomous car that might be a taxi service or some type of shuttle service, is much different than saying, are you ready for 18-wheelers that are autonomous rolling down the road? And I think people are not ready for that. I think there's a fear level that hasn't been touched yet. But I also think in the auto transport business, that human element of communication and trust somewhat gets eroded and goes away if we're talking about complete autonomy. And I think that's going to be the plus factor for us, back that we may get there at some point, but I think people are still relying upon other people for trust and communication, especially when they're moving something like a car.
It again, the technology is here. It's happening. There's a company over in Fort Worth, out of that technology area over there by Alliance Airport. They're running trucks, 18-wheelers from Arizona to Texas. And the driver of the truck actually sits in the passenger seat and monitors everything. But that's an unloaded truck. So what happens when that truck has, you know, failure, flat tire, something like that out there in the middle of nowhere, and he's got his cargo in the back of a trailer that can easily be, I mean, you'll have banditos out there following these driverless trucks, just waiting for something to happen to them because there's nobody there to protect the freight.
That's when the driver then goes into security guard mode.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I can't see the OEMs allowing carriers to put cars on trucks without any type of a driver or anything like that in the truck with them to ensure that the safety and security of those vehicles on there. So I don't know. I agree, Marco. I think in reality, it's a long way off, but the technology, I mean, it's there, you know, it's just, there's
nothing like, this actually reminds me of this one time that I won't name this conference, but I was at this automotive conference that had a lot of auctions and dealers, brick and mortar dealers and auctions. And the opening remarks at this conference, the speaker came out and essentially took 10 minutes to reassure the audience that change was not coming, that physical was not going away, that people would continue to, and this is only a few months before COVID hit. So,
I think I saw this one. I think
you
I
were
was
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry, it's not happening. Digital is far, 5-10 years away.
Try the veal, we're good. I saw that. Yeah.
Were they from Blockbuster Video?
Perhaps.
Perhaps, or Kodak. That's crazy. And it was that recent. Wow.
Yeah.
Can we guess the conference?
No, you cannot. But I want to say
offline, Dean.
But I want to say this is that this is what's exciting, is that we're talking about stuff that matters to carriers. Bek, as you know, you are hard pressed to hear conversation that carriers actually can relate to. I don't know why it's been that way, but it's got to stop.
Yeah, I mean, in many ways, the entire industry runs on the backs of the carriers, right? I mean, in many ways, we're serving the carrier community. Without the carriers, none of this is possible. I mean, our entire livelihood, for example, here, you know, these lights are on because of the carriers. You know, I'm able to feed my family because of the carriers. We're able to wake up every day and go to work and love what we're doing because of the carriers. I think everyone on this call, everyone in the audience. And I think back in the day, Jay, when you and I were dispatchers for owner operators, honestly, I don't think the carriers got the respect they really deserved, you know? As dispatchers acting on behalf of carriers, we got mistreated all the time by all sorts of brokers, from small shops to, you know, top 5 brokerages in the country. But a few years ago, that started changing. Eventually, it started changing. You know, it was borderline bullying some of the conversations, and you were there, Jay, and some of the conversations we would have between brokers and smaller carriers, and some of the brokers and some of the shippers would straight up, bully mode, as if a carrier, is obligated to do business and to haul that car. But that's no longer the case, at least from the conversations that I have with the carriers. I believe that the carriers are beginning to receive the respect that they want. Now, hopefully, my magic wand for the carriers is going to be for the rates to catch up. Now that we have the respect for the carriers that they deserve, right? Let's make sure that every single car that they're booking is verified, so they're not chasing down this rabbit hole trying to figure out if the car is ready. The worst thing is, big truck going through traffic, arriving at a destination, and the car is not paid for, or it's not ready, it's not there yet. There's nothing worse than that. And there's not even a dry run fee for that. Worst case scenario. So yeah, magic wand moment. I'm really happy to see that the carriers are beginning to get the respect they deserve, and hopefully the rates will catch up as well.
So Bek, what I'll add to that too is, because I am a broker here, right? So I gotta talk for my brokers here, right?
Yes.
Is that the battlegrounds, I think, for brokers now have changed from brokers competing with each other for accounts, right, to more so now competing with each other for relationships with carriers. Yeah. So it's important that as a broker, you have the right carriers, the right drivers, right, to broker out to move that. Because if you don't, you're not going to be able to service that customer very well. So as a broker, we're understanding that, hey, it's not only important to get those corporate accounts that we value so much, but we need to have those relationships with the drivers and those asset-based carriers so we can service that. And if that means giving those guys the respect they deserve and understanding their pain points and putting time towards helping them, that's just as valuable as picking up another account. So the broker battlefield has shifted over to the carrier side, in my opinion, and that's why we're so adamant on our side at McCollister's of building that relationship that I've been talking about this whole session, because that really is the key to success from a broker standpoint.
Amen. Yeah.
I want to touch on that, and this question is primarily, Marco, to you and to Dean, because you guys are more in the broker side of things. But I was reading here. I love the chat thing, because all these carriers are chiming in. And Ismail Puente said, "Can we talk about dry run fees?" And Bek, you were kind of alluding to that just a second. Where has I haven't heard a lot about that here lately. Is dry run fees a thing? Is it a piece of that relationship that you have with that carrier, that that he's an honest guy, that when he said he's going to be there, he's there, and he's telling you the truth? How do you guys handle the dry run fees and all that today?
Yeah, so we obviously try, and no one likes the dry run, right? Not only from the financial aspect, but from the driver aspect, they'd much rather haul that car. So we try and do our part as a broker to ensure that when they show up or when they make confirmation, those cars are going to be there. Inevitably, are you going to have an issue? Is an OEM going to not realize they reassigned a car? They thought it was there, now it's not. So now instead of hauling a load of 5, you can only haul 4. Or picking up a POV, suddenly the customer at the last minute decides that they want to drive their own car, even though you were scheduled to pick it up. Absolutely. We need to offer that type of financial support to the carriers, because they've structured their routes around the ability to pick that up. We try and limit that as much as we can, but that is part of the industry, and we certainly will pay our carriers a dry run when it's applicable. And we normally know about it, before the driver will just show up. So I think it's a great question, and it's something that we do deal with on our side. We try and limit it, but we are respectful when that case comes up, because you do owe them something for that time and the loss of that unit or what have you.
Yeah, I would say on our side, yeah, we don't encounter it very much, and I think a lot of it is the way our marketplace is set up, the ability to easily communicate between the carrier and the shipper. If there's any question or any issues on delays, we like, for instance, our partnership with eBay Motors. Those cars are sold. They're ready to go. There's no doubt that it's going to be there when we need to come pick it up. And so I think transparency and communication has helped really mitigate the dry run fees that any of our carriers would encounter.
Yeah, I mean, Derric, to Dean's point, it doesn't happen nearly as much as maybe it happened in years past, I think, but it still does happen from now and then. And when it does happen, we are respectful of the fact that, the carriers owed compensation for that.
I guess kind of what I'm driving at is, you made the comment, Marco, that there's a competition there for a relationship with that carrier, with the carriers out there. The brokers are, all of them are, that's what they're all doing, when you talk to them. So as an element to that relationship, hey, if I know you, Marco, and you haul for me and you do an excellent job and you're always there and you've been hauling for me for 3 or 4 years, and me and you have that relationship, and you call me up and say, Derric, this car is not there, then bam, I'm gonna take care of you, because that's fostering that relationship, right?
That's right.
That's what I'm asking. I was getting more to the relationship part of that, than because what that does is that drives your carriers into that relationship, right?
That's right.
So,
yep.
What about the future of brokerages? There are companies today out there, not the first one. There have been a few companies in the last few years who came out and tried to replace the broker. There have been, how do you guys think about the broker model evolving over the next 5 years, especially when there are technology companies coming out and trying to disintermediate the broker?
I think we're going to see. Sorry, Dean, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Marco.
So, at the top of this, I referred to us back, instead of a broker, as an auto transport management company. And I think that's really where it's driving towards, is that the traditional thought process of what a broker is, what support they offer, what function they offer, is changing to where they are getting more involved to get a deeper relationship, more stickiness, if you will, with that client, and also offering better services to the drivers as well. So it's not just going through McDonald's and saying, I want to order a quarter pounder, right? And just saying, here you go, take care of me. It's really offering more services that are complemented with technology to help that individual customer. So you are looked upon as a management company, which not only takes care of the auto transport side of it, but everything else that comes along with it. So I think you're going to see that evolution from a straight line, old school broker to more of what I phrase this management company, which offers auxiliary services, which you're going to need to compete with those other companies that are trying to come into this space. That's my personal opinion towards what you're seeing with brokers, at least the ones that are trying to evolve themselves.
Yeah, I would say that technology for sure is empowering shippers outside the brokerage community, where, like I mentioned before, the whole idea of finding carriers that are properly insured, licensed, being able to have insight into their performance. Because when you think about the auto transport world, the number of carriers that are out there as compared to, let's say, the full truckload world. Full truckload, few 100,000 carriers. In our world, there's probably 3,000 to 4,000 ish that, so it's a small community, we're all using the same carriers, but I think the technology is going to enable, that's what, when DealerTrack first bought Central, the idea was we're going to have dealers connect directly with carriers, and well, there was just too much friction, too much effort for it to really gain any ground. Well, now if we're able to make it easy for them to discover capacity, the rating, as you said, Bek, the compliance and monitoring, so they know that your unit's safe and care of custody of that carrier, I can see where that shipper is going to be empowered to take that on themselves. But I also agree with Marco that the whole managed service idea is positioned in a much more strategic way versus just calling it a broker, because a broker almost acts like a shield between the shipper and the carrier, whereas a managed service is going to, I believe, will have a lot more transparency.
Yeah. Well, good news is we'll live to see the outcome and find out whether we're right or wrong in the next few years.
Let's do it again in 10 years and see. We'll compare the shows.
Hey, before we lose too much of the audience, I did want to ask, before I forget, if so, on the panel today we have McCollister's, we have Car Delivery Network, you have Super Dispatch, Jay, uShip represented. Show gets rewatched by other industry insiders, like Jay said. What asks do you have? So I think this is a two-way question. Question from the audience to the audience is, how can anyone on this panel, how can anyone watching the show be more helpful to you? How can we be more helpful to you with your business, with what you're trying to do, with your day-to-day? How can we help you overcome problems, challenges? How can we help with your business? How can we help you grow? How can we help you make things easier? And same question for the panel. So speak to the audience for a moment, to the audience of haulers, your peers, your competitors, the whole industry. How can the audience and how can the community overall be helpful to you in what you're building and what you're doing?
I think, no idea is a bad idea. And I think the more that we can get from everybody's perspective, there's been a lot of really good ideas shared tonight, both from the carrier, the broker, and the shipper side of things. That, I know for our company, we invest a ton in just extracting information directly from our customers. And I will say, especially our carriers. And so the more they're willing to share, good or bad. I mean, I think Marco said it earlier, like when you're starting, you're gonna celebrate the good and you got to take ownership of the bad. I know we want to know both, that, because we can't just sit in a bubble and try to figure out what's the next thing we need to iterate on. We'd much rather be guided.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Dean. We don't necessarily walk in the shoes of our carriers. So for them to come to us and not stay silent, right? It's not to be worried about speaking up either with issues they're having or even suggestions for how we could better support them and work with them. Some of the best innovations that we've gotten in the technology that we've built have come directly from feedback from drivers about how they go about their day-to-day tasks, so we can understand that and build it into the expectations that we provide to our accounts. On the broker's perspective, I mean, listen, there's always been competition among brokers, but brokers should feel comfortable discussing with each other and talking about issues and problems and what potential solutions might be, right? You don't have to give away the special sauce of what your success is, but we all share that commonality, right? We're all in that same business. And a lot of times dialogue helps the whole broker industry as far as trying to figure out what's the best way to try and solve problems. So I really think that's what it is. It's not staying silent, not being afraid to speak up. There's no such thing really as a bad idea. We might tell you no, or we might tell you that's great, but what about this? So I encourage communication because it leads to a lot of solutions.
Yeah. What about you, Derric?
Check one.
Yeah, it's a hard one, Bek.
Well, here's a clue, Derric. You can start with, come buy my software, use Car Delivery Network, build on that.
Yeah. Obviously, yeah. I didn't know I was selling here today. I've been selling all day. I want to stop selling for a minute.
No worries. There's some really good ideas in the so Exotic Hotshot in the chat wants to see a rating system. It's a pretty interesting idea. Rating system where A+ carriers are even getting better rates than like a C- carrier. So really like performance-based pricing that could solve some of the lower paying loads. That's basic, marketplace dynamics. Brando Parada says, offer onboarding sessions for best practices with dealing with brokers. Jay, that might be a good idea for you there. Maybe Ty Thompson out there, if you're listening, Cars on the Move.
So I want to say this is that, getting back to carriers, 5 years ago, carriers had less clout or people didn't listen as much. I still think many carriers feel like we're still there. Maybe when we're close to our company Rolodex, we know our carriers, but they're still, I think, out in the pervasive, larger, random load world. There's still so much miscommunication. Things I wrote down, customer expectations vary so greatly from what the broker, I apologize, what some brokers think are their duties, right? You've got, and so that's where these puppy mills of you're going to get rich being a broker tomorrow, you're going to get rich being a carrier tomorrow, and then the customers that think that their car is, going through the Amazon time warp. There's so much information that needs to be, that's why my job, gosh, yeah. We just came up with 10 more shows tonight. I mean, it's endless. The communication, information, education, and realistic expectations that, man, there's plenty to go around for everybody. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. I see, there's so much consternation about why the rates are this. Why are there so many people in between the shipper and the carrier, etc. So I don't have a conclusionary statement, but I got mountains of homework. Pass.
Yeah. Bek, one of the things we do, and I do in my daily regiment, is I collect insights from the customers. And so, going back to what Marco said and Dean said, obviously talking to the customers and just getting that feedback from them. But I think, and this is what I was thinking about when you asked me that question, it's just having a way, and just what Jay said. I mean, he's got a ton of data there sitting in front of him. How do you start filtering through all that? How do you start filtering through this chat that's going on my phone with all that data and all those insights in there? I mean, the information on this chat here is invaluable. And anytime you can get that kind of data coming back from the carriers, and those guys out there and the brokers too, what those guys need as far as technology goes. I feel like I'm talking to the choir, preaching to the choir here, because everybody knows this, but I mean, that is where it's at. That's where you're going to find, it's not a silver bullet, but you're going to make incremental, small little changes.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I think we need more Derrics in our community. When you saw an antiquated industry and when you decided to do something about it, I think the information is out there. How many of us will decide to do something about it, right? How many shippers and brokers will decide to care? How many carriers will decide to care? How many of us will choose the right path and not be a fly-by-night company, right? How many of us will choose to bring value into the conversation, into the transaction, right? The more of us in the community decide to do that, the better off we'll all be. And the next thing you know, if you're acting in good faith, some of these communication, rating problems, and the reliability things might go away. It's hard, and the problems exist. We're not pretending they don't exist. But yeah, you're right. Information is out there. So how do we encourage people to do something with it? The technology companies. A lot of technology companies have similar stories. We saw a problem. We decided to do something about it. And how do we get here today? Purely through feedback, right? I think carriers need to continue. Well, I don't want to say need like it's a job, but it would be great if carriers continued providing direct feedback, right? Call people out in a diplomatic, polite manner, but provide feedback. If feedback makes things better for all involved. Same thing from the shipper and broker to the carrier. Carrier makes a mistake, instead of blocking them or blacklisting them, give them the feedback, give them a chance to be better, to get better, to learn from that mistake. If anything, it'll probably bring you closer together. It'll make you a stronger partner. So I think we can definitely, like people in this room, people in this audience, we can be the people that move this industry forward. It's really up to us how we decide to move forward with that. Right? So having said that, future is bright. Hopefully the cars are not driving themselves and loading themselves. Hopefully we'll have a job. But yeah, this was phenomenal. Really, I mean, Jay, thank you so much for allowing this to go on beyond 10 o'clock. I do have 20 more questions on here, but we won't go there today. I'm really grateful to, again, Jay, thank you for providing a platform for us to come together and share ideas. Each one of you guys on the panel, I appreciate you guys so much for taking the time and joining the dialogue. Keven, we're gonna have to bring you back in somehow. Really sorry to have lost the carrier perspective, but the brethren in the chat have made up for that to represent the carrier community. And the audience in the chat, we really appreciate your participation. Hope you get your t-shirt. I think Casey was also giving away Amazon gift cards. I'm not sure if that's still happening. If that's happening, make sure you enter into whatever that is. But yeah, this was great, Jay. Would love to do it again.
Cool.
Are you guys in? You guys want to come back and give this another go at some point?
Sure.
Jay, I'm ready. Tell me when.
Yeah, Coach.
You know, this really has been a great panel. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to be here and for taking the prep time and everything. It really was great. I'll tell you what, why don't we do this before we go? I've got a... I'm just sharing some contact information, okay? I think everybody's cool with this. This is just email addresses, company info, names. If we talked about feedback, and there was a lot of it in the live chat. If you got something you want to let somebody know something specific, instead of using a megaphone, send an email. There's some email addresses, company information, and there's so much more. Like you said, you got more questions, and we didn't even go into individual companies or whatnot. But I really like. I tell you, I did this show. This is the funniest thing in January 2020. It was called 2020 Vision, and this is before any hint of COVID or anything. Wow, you could throw that VHS tape right in the dumpster. And so what I learned is it's true. Anything we say now, we have no idea what crazy turns are around the corner. Suddenly in 2025, this will look like the 80s, and we'll all be like, man, that was crazy talk.
Right.
But at the same time, we have to give it a shot, and that's why I like that this really was a forum instead of a I know for sure type discussion. And I think that's one of the problems. One of the reasons the industry's so fragmented is there's so many I know this type discussions rather than, I think this discussions. So thank you for joining me for a I think this discussion. I really appreciate that. Bek,
Pleasure.
Great job hosting the panel, and you handpicked everybody here, so great job on that. Thank you so much, Bek.
Pleasure.
Marco, thanks for joining us, telling us more about McCollister's and bringing your insight. Really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Dean, great to meet you. I look forward to learning more, and I really appreciate your participation tonight.
Great to be here. Thank you, Jay.
Derric, great seeing you again. I can't wait until we can all get back to actual physical conferences.
Yep.
And we can do one. Right, big up.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thank you so much. Thanks, Bek, for handpicking me.
I don't know about that. I think you guys handpicked yourselves.
No, it's great being on here with you guys.
Yeah.
I can assure you that between the live views and the live chats, that this show was off the hook. Thank you guys so much for making that happen.
Keven too. Let's thank Keven too for his time.
Yes.
Kevin, sorry about the internet. You know, I got lucky when I had Kevin on a year ago. So, you know, internet's like that. It's amazing, right? When the power goes off and you got to turn on the candle and open a book, life sure is different. So, Kevin, we're sorry you couldn't spend more time with us tonight. Good call. Gentlemen, it's 10:45 Central Time. Thank you all so much for your time and participation. We hope to see you again soon.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
All right, and like that, I end the meeting. Boom, I got the power. Look at that. Man, that was incredible. An incredible show. Thank you all so much for your participation. There was a lot. The live chat was going crazy tonight. It was really, really neat. I certainly want to thank Sue at Murphy Auto Transport Services. If you're looking for a dispatcher, she's a fully licensed broker. She's my co-host on Thursdays. Thank you, Murphy Auto Transport. Thank you, Dispatch Center, SuperFlo Systems. You've got end-to-end CRM, TMS, mobile app, Transport Auto Quoter. Check that out. And don't forget to play. Go to dispatchcenter.com/Ask Larry. You have 5 questions, and the clock is ticking. I want to thank United Road. Thank you, United Road. They were on the show 2 weeks ago. They will be back soon. Got more information for you. You know, we talked about feedback. And I say this to anybody that comes on the show and participates. Be ready for the feedback. I'm really proud of what the audience has to say, but sometimes, you know, I saw a couple live chats. Let them know. They'll be back. We, as Bek said, we got a software army. I think that's true. Thank you, Bek. Thank you, Super Dispatch. Thank you for putting together a great panel. Saw a lot of Super Dispatch activity. Thank you for all the T-shirts and the giveaway. And hopefully, if you've got a question that they want to help you, want to get your questions answered, get your feedback. Thank you, Super Dispatch. Thank you. We had Marco Maggiore at McCollister's Transport Group. Thank you, Marco. Thank you, Dean Xeros at uShip. Thank you, Dean, so much for your time. Thank you, Derric Hicks from Car Delivery Network. Thank you, Derric. And I look forward to seeing you guys at trade shows soon at theaters near you. And Keven Parada, JP Auto Transport. Thank you so much for your time and participating. This was a great show. This was Tuesday Nights Live, episode 183 in a row. Listen, if you are new to Auto Transport Intel, thank you for taking the time tonight. I got some good news. This show is here every Tuesday night. This is the Car Shipping Business Channel, and you'll only find it at Auto Transport Intel. Now, there's a lot of information out there, and there's some great places to get information. But I go live every Tuesday night. In fact, I go live 4 times a week, which is really crazy. Go to YouTube. Go to the Auto Transport Intel YouTube channel on YouTube. You got Tuesday Nights Live. Hey, you got a DOT, FMCSA, IRP, ELD, any kind of anagram problem? Make sure you tune in to DOT Compliance on noon tomorrow. Noon Central. I'll be live again in 13 hours. Man, I got to get some sleep. Then on Thursday at noon, Dispatching Live. That's with Sue at Murphy Auto Transport. We're going to look at the load boards. We get crazy. I wear a referee shirt and everything. That's worth tuning into. Then on Fridays, Cars on the Move. You saw Ty Thompson in the live chat. Ty, Cars on the Move, connecting dealers, auctions, and carriers. Here's what's cool. You spend 90 minutes looking at the load boards with me and Sue. It makes you crazy. Tune in Friday. Build your business. Build relationships. Go talk to a dealer. We're going to tell you what to say. I mean, you know what I mean. We want to help. All right, you guys, I got to let you go. It's the end of the show. It's getting late. Still a lot of people here. And, I feel like, I talk about overtime. Like, this would be the time where, I don't know. Last call. And there's still one more chance to ring the cowbell. I got the cowbell right there. You can ring it too. That's right. You can ring it. You can give a like. Wow, we're up to 52 likes. That's craziness. That is some craziness. I tell you what, you know what time it is. Because I love great props. I got all kinds of props. Even, when I start talking about how great this channel is, I can honk the horn. We got buzzers, bells. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Auto Transport Intel. This is the Car Shipping Business Channel. I want to help. Let us know how we can help. Make sure you go to autotransportintel.com. Hey, sign up for the podcast. That's more good news. I've been thank you, BM. I really appreciate that. Right? Because information without engagement ain't nothing. At 53, Bobby Neal. Wow, 55. That's crazy. It's funny is that in the past, other shows, when I talk about the live views, everybody leaves. I talk about the thumbs up and I get thumbs down. So I got to be careful. This is Auto Transport. But really, I do appreciate it. I got to get out of here. I got to start working on DOT compliance. Get to my ELD Punch. Guys, this is ELD Punch. I'm Jay, your host. I'm raising that's it. I'm out of here. It's overtime. Listen, thank you so much, really, for being a part of this. This was a phenomenal milestone, and I thank you so much. You guys, be safe, take care, and I'll see you soon. Peace out, everybody.